Oh, welcome everyone to the David McInnis after party. Sorry, I was actually distracted. Somebody just sent me a message, so I was reading it. Forgot where the hell I was for a second.
Tangled in a web.
Somewhere there. Yeah. Anyway, so far with us, we have, of course, the guest of honor tonight. Mr. David McInnis is with us. My producer way over there, Mr. Mikey Famine, is also with us.
Present.
For the first time in a little while, Mr. Bible Belt Atheist has joined us tonight. And of course, our financial guru, Mr. Irish Swede or Swede Irish or however you want to put it, financial a-hole, whatever you want to put it.
The Marfanist art, the former Marfanist known as Swede.
That's right, Captain Marfan. There you go.
Ooh, I should put that.
Marfan man.
I like Captain Marfan. I'm listening from my pillow. Well, welcome anyways. Faye, always good to have you in the chat. Jason Noble, yeah, I'm working on building up those bubbly belches. They'll be coming anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome everyone in the chat. Hope you guys have a good time hanging out with us tonight. If any of you would like to join, just let me know. I did not get anything from you, Jen, but yeah. Awkward.
Oh goodness.
Jenna, Cynthia, Justin, and Multi are all live on If Was, so I'm over there just talking trash in their chat.
Oh, are you? Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
See, we can chat bomb people, folks.
Here, I'll drop the link so everyone can go over there, give them a thumbs up, and then come right back. And you know what? No, don't leave here. Just open a new tab. You stay here. Don't you leave. You know what? Never mind. You're not getting the link now. You ruined it.
You ruined it for yourself.
Yeah, how dare y'all?
This might get louder than here. There we go. All right.
I'm finding that trying to explain a system in which we just make up money out of thin air is really actually hard for some people to understand, and I don't blame them.
Well, I mean, how do you make money out of thin air?
Money.
Don't they do that in the Treasury all the time?
Well, the Fed does it. Yeah, it's.
Holy shit! Are we on the sun?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was what I was going to say. Can you guess what this is? It's not the sun.
It's not the sun.
It's not the sun.
Cosmic microwave background.
It is the cosmic microwave background. God damn it, Neil! You're supposed to get one wrong. Damn.
Sorry.
I like the picture of the sun that looks like shag carpet. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Shag carpet. That was the worst.
And that was actually done by an amateur astronomer, and somebody kept attributing it to a NASA picture when it's not.
Well, NASA's fake.
Oh yeah.
So there's.
I mean, the Earth is flat, and the sun is just a ball of shag carpet.
Obviously. There you go. There's another one.
I would have gotten that one. I didn't get the first one, that's for sure.
That is, I think. Oh, what was it? It's some range on the electromagnetic spectrum. That's the Milky Way, but it's filtering out a bunch of something. But I forgot which one it was because I downloaded like 10 pictures, and I lost track of which was which. So it's something. It's a thing. I'll just hang out in Pluto. Pluto works.
Indeed.
So you'll be happy to know, BBA, I have found volunteers to help. I have to change the piston strut thingies, little pneumatic arms that hold your hood up for my Mini. I had no idea a Mini hood weighed like 5 trillion tons. It is the heaviest thing. And both of the little struts were out. And I was like, oh, just use a broomstick. Ha! Smart guy. Big Omega brain here. Yeah, the broomstick was long enough. I was like, but it's a little car, but the hood is just ginormous. Ginormous enough for that my broom to not work. So I've drafted somebody to stand there and hold it while I take it off. Gotta do what you gotta do.
Either that, or you can go full Southern and just take some bungee cords and hook it to your A-frame.
You're not wrong. I do have a sunroof. I do have
Or
a
a sunroof.
It's glass, so that's a sunroof, right? And the moonroof is just
Yeah.
the whole thing is metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing. Sunroof, moonroof, same thing.
The sun and the moon are the same thing, and the Earth is flat. We have whittling down all the mysteries of the universe right here.
They're a trip, man. Flat earthers are something else. I've talked to way too many of those to ever be reasonable. Like, more than any human being should ever have to interact with flat earthers, I have done so. And they are.
I've never met one in the wild.
I have. I've met at least one in the wild.
Like in person, face to face.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what I would do. I think my brain would short circuit.
Yeah. Yeah.
All eyes on me.
It's interesting though, because it's such an interesting type of delusion to have. Like some of them, like, because clearly you have a very odd selection of people. You have some people who are the con artists that are like monetizing the incredibly ignorant and clearly don't believe their own bullshit. That exists. There's absolutely that category. Then you've got the people who are clearly dealing with specific mental illness. There's a few within that community that I'm fairly sure diagnosed schizophrenics and whatnot. And that's a different category. That's a mental health issue. Don't really look down on that because there's lots of ways. But then you've got that little sliver of people who actually just seem to be otherwise mentally well, but somehow believe the earth is flat. And
you can, however, say that sunlight and moonlight are the same thing.
I mean, if you think about it, technically they are.
I mean, there's no technically about it. The moon doesn't give off any fucking light. It's just bouncing it.
Yeah, it's a reflective surface.
Yeah.
There's no difference between the two. One's just
it's getting the light from the sun. So, I mean, it's like it's still sunlight. It's just,
Yeah, those vampires hate moonlight just as much.
Yeah, but most of them have this weird thing about apparently you can't learn anything about what's under your feet by looking up. That's like a really common thing that they'll say. So like looking at the stars to figure out the shape of the earth is apparently logically not sound at all to them.
No way, hold on. Sweet just crushed it. Didn't they have in that Twilight series, it was like the werewolves and the vampires like fighting out on a field at night with the fucking moon full? Them vampires should have been fucked up because that is sunlight. He's right. They should just be burning their skin.
Well, you see, the vampires were protected by the all-powerful and all-knowing metal of plot armor.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't get through
plot
that.
armor is the thing.
Plot armor is just
better than Beskar steel.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of Beskar steel, your
or
girl is
Hawkeye. It's even better than Quicksilver.
Shut up.
Have you talked to any of these flat earthers, Neil?
No, I try to stay away from them. So, yeah, I have no time for that kind of fucking dumb shittery. So.
Look, for somebody who's interested in how people work, it is pretty fascinating to like listen to the logical backflips some of these people go through to justify. Like it's not smart. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it's fascinating type of ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I don't understand how anyone can be alive today and think it's utterly. It's like
that's what makes it so interesting.
Neil, your girlfriend got fired by Disney.
My what?
Your girlfriend.
Oh, fuck off, Gina
Carano.
Do you see the shit that she fucking posted?
I can't find it anywhere. What did she say?
Look, that's the thing too, right? Like people keep going on about what she posted, and I haven't seen any actual examples.
I have it. I actually have it. I have a picture of it.
Redacted them
because she got canceled.
No,
that's what happened. She canceled herself. She said something stupid enough to get fired from Disney and get wiped off the face of the earth. That's what happened.
Yeah, but what was like
He's-
the only
he's
things
pulling up.
I've seen didn't seem
Jews equate
enough to justify,
MAGA
but I'm not
supporters
saying I've
to
seen everything,
Jews
right?
during the Holocaust.
Whoa! Oh, you're done, girlfriend.
Yikes!
What did you say?
Yeah, she compared today's conservatives to the Nazi Germany concentration camps, Jews and stuff.
I'm
In
copying
what way
her
did she
post.
make this
I don't know.
comparison?
I'm copying
I'm
her post,
curious
and I
what
will
her
DM
exact
it
words
to you
were.
guys.
Okay.
Okay, Sweet's gonna give it to you. So
Yeah.
I will DM it to Dave. Are you in the big group?
Mm-mm.
The
No.
Friends of
no.
Nemo?
You have to send it separate to.
Just send it to me. I'll get it.
Hello,
To you.
Firebrand Atheist. I've not seen your name in here before. I've seen you around YouTube, but not in my chats. Hopefully, you're well and welcome.
All right, it's in your DMs there, Mikey.
Hail and well met.
She posted Captain Kirk with Darth Vader. No, that's not true.
And the phrase, if you want to figure out how people work, and listening to flat earthers, I don't know. It's kind of like going to a junkyard to listen to engines revving. You know, it's like if you want to figure out how people work, don't listen to the broken people, because that's just mind-numbing ridiculousness to just still believe that. I can't wrap my head around it. It's ridiculous.
I tried.
Like, you have to be trolling to believe that.
I want to, like, in my heart of hearts, I just want to think that it's just like an Uber troll, and they're just doing it for the lulz. But then you hear someone, you're like, yo, he kind of sounds like he believes this shit. Like, either he's a fucking great actor, or this motherfucker actually believes this shit, which is too bad.
Wait, did you forward me this thing, Mikey?
Can I do it? Damn, Dad. Give me a second.
Hurry
It's
up.
almost as bad as the guy two nights ago who was trying to tell me that the Rothschilds were in control of the world, and the Jewish banking system was to blame for all the ills in the world.
What
But
is the
not
obsession?
Jews, just Jewish banking.
What is the obsession with not liking Jewish people? Can we?
I don't know.
You know, here's the thing, right? Like, I've known an awful lot of people over the years, in multiple capacities, that have bought into different sort of conspiracy narratives. And I would say most of the ones that I've spoken to, even if they believe the Rothschilds were, or there's a couple different family names that they like to target. It's not just
Morgan, Rothschild.
Yeah,
famines.
it's because of like the stuff that came out in the 90s with David Icke and the Illuminati bloodlines and all that shit, right? Like, so people bought into this narrative, and I don't think that it's specifically when they buy into this narrative that they're disliking Jews as a whole, right? Like, I think they're like, this particular family that is incidentally Jewish is behind. Like, it's more right because I've never seen.
They try to make it seem like that way, but they keep bringing up very, very peculiar, singular ethnic background people. Like it's like everyone they brought up, every name they bring up is Jewish, and it's like.
But I don't know that means that they dislike the general population of Jewish people.
It's sketch, and it is. It's very along the same lines of what started a lot of the anti-Semitism within at least 1930s Germany.
Yeah,
because they could point to these people.
Some of the people who perforate
Anti-Semitism goes way further back.
Well, I'm talking about the very particular movement of 1920s, 30s Germany. They would point to certain bankers and be like, "Look, here's the evidence that it's this particular group of people that is the boogeyman." And
yeah, for sure. But
boogeyman.
Okay, I grew up Jewish, so I know all of the stuff because they literally force feed you that stuff. So, and I've also had 4 relatives that were in or I think 2 or 4 relatives were in the Holocaust. So,
But do you think that sometimes people could be getting some of this stuff and, they're convinced that it makes logical sense? Maybe the person putting that information out is anti-Semitic and that's their motivation. But the people who've decided that they haven't made the connection between the two? Because I've met people that seems to be the case.
I think it's pretty hard to say that you wouldn't know something is anti-Semitic when you post it.
Rest in peace, Larry Flint.
That's.
It almost seems like it's just the group that everybody loves to hate. I'm sure there's a lot of people that that they go through and they get raised around anti-Semitism and they're exposed to it culturally pretty much their entire fucking life, even though you don't even know anybody that's actually Jewish. You've never actually met somebody that's Jewish, but you just pass on these memes, and it's just culturally passed down. These are the people that you make fun of. Like, it's just kind of like it's just inherited almost, and that's the kind of shit that's got to stop. Now, it's almost incomparable and to a much lesser degree, but the same kind of thing happened in Nickelback. Regardless of how you feel about Nickelback, it's just the band that everybody loves to hate. And you might not even hate all their music or even have met or talked to any of the band members. But it's just like, that's just the band that you make fun of just because it's Nickelback, right? And
yeah, I mean,
it's that type of attitude. Now, I'm not really comparing the damage that can be caused by anti-Semitism to, disliking a rock band, but it's that same mentality where it's just, you just kind of hear and it's just the social accepted thing to hate. And, as you just kind of pass it down.
But it's not
I think that there's not that isn't still not a good thing, right? Like it's obviously not a good thing, but I think that there's a different people who hate Nickelback because they're sort of on the let's hate Nickelback bandwagon probably don't legitimately hate Nickel. You know what I mean? Like they're not like it's not like
they're singing that shit in the car.
That's violent. Like I despise this, and I think there's certainly people who probably fall into that category as well. Like people who are doing it because it's sort of the cultural thing to do, but when it comes down to it, it's not like if they ran into someone who would actually hate
culture
them.
isn't really a thing, right? What? If you do something that is like she did and the company lets you go, then you obviously broke some sort of a deal or agreement with that company, and it's their right to do so. They're privately owned. This isn't a cancel culture issue at all.
No, because there's tons of shit that you sign for any job saying, do not go on the internet and embarrass us or we're going to fucking fire you.
Yeah. Look at FaceIt. Ancient bullshit keeps poisoning the culture with lies. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I like I said, I still didn't see what the actual tweet was for the context, but I mean, there are certainly times where somebody says something that I might disagree with politically, or I might think is questionable, or that they've got a bad delivery, but I tend to try to be charitable with people in general. And I certainly see some cases where I think companies have taken the least charitable interpretation of something and kind of run.
By the way, her agency, casting agency or whatever that she uses, also dumped her.
Yeah.
No,
I've seen that earlier.
Apparently, she deleted the tweet.
Right.
Little late.
I think it was a TikTok thing that people screenshotted.
Oh, in a little story or whatever?
Yeah.
It was a tweet, as it says here.
Either way, that gets a damn homie.
Screenshotted it and then tweeted it out or something. It was...
Damn, homie, how you get fired on your day off? That part.
But yeah, Republicans are so persecuted. Just like the Jews in Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
Is that what she said?
That's what the meme says that she posted.
Oh, so she posted a meme.
Yeah, no.
Well, she posted several different things. She compared. I mean, if you look at the picture that we sent over, that's what it was.
Trying to send it over. He keeps saying he's not getting it. QG. What up, homie?
Hey,
How you doing?
good. How's everyone else?
Just bumming ourselves out
Why?
because people are stupid.
Yes.
Yeah,
And weird.
I'm chilling.
that's certainly a shame though. If they've gone and done something bad enough to get themselves fired, because I did like their character. They seem to be
Gina
doing
Carano.
good at their actual job, which is acting.
Mhm.
But
So
What's even
QG
better is I'm wondering how they're going to kill the character off.
That's this side.
They're going to have jokes.
I was just finishing my supper, watching some streams about that, thinking, yeah, how are they going to write that one out? Because the character was popular.
yeah,
just replace her with Lucy Lawless, and we'll just pretend like none of this ever happened.
It's the character that matters. So as long as the acting is just as good, I don't think people are going to care.
They've many shows have done it before, and everyone just ignores it and moves on.
look,
Alright.
they just.
I
did
think
that
Radar
with,
will come in and talk to us
Batwoman,
about a helicopter crash.
The acting
and no
is
one
just as
surviving.
bad in season 2 with the new actress as the old one.
So this is what's great about two people not wearing headphones. You guys just talk over each other because you don't know that the other person started talking.
Oh, who was talking? Sorry.
So Sweet, you go, and then David.
I think Radar is going to come in and break the news to us about a helicopter crash in which nobody survived.
Not even Captain Lamb.
Nope. Nobody's getting that?
No.
MASH?
Yes.
Yeah! He shoots, he scores. I was like, wait, Radar? That's not Star Wars. Can't be MASH. That'd be a very deep cut if that's where he was going. What were you saying, David?
I was just saying that when they replaced the person on that Batwoman series,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just as bad with the new person as it was with the old. Like it.
Replace
that
Katie
is,
Holmes.
oh man, that show not so good.
Why is Neil's forehead so, why is his brow pressed down so,
Yeah, flip that bandana back. Let's see your eyebrows. It was like a villain reveal. He was like, I don't think he's angry at us. Oh, he's angry.
No.
Oh, he's angry.
You appear very intently focused.
I'm reading the tweet that was put in the chat that was sent out by Gina.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
The one about Jews.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Like, come on. Like,
I think everybody needs to take a step back and realize that you shouldn't, don't just post whatever the fuck you want to post all the time whenever you think of posting it. Show a little restraint. Think about your actions.
Learn anything from Donald Trump.
God.
Watch your motherfucking mouth.
I mean, you know what I think is the sad part is a lot of people get suckered into this stuff because kind of like what me and Neil were saying in the beginning, right? Like you're convinced of something, and we don't necessarily choose that. And sometimes people get convinced of shitty ideas, and I think generally dialoguing and trying to get through to those people is better than just trying to shove them in the corner and pretend they don't exist.
But
because that's largely a political thing, right? Like.
What I try to encourage people to do is just stop, take 3 breaths, and think before you open your mouth or put your thumbs to a keyboard.
Yep.
Like just stop for a second, and just 3 seconds. Just before you say this, really, what are you contributing to the dialogue, and then what are the potential outcomes that you might not want to have happen?
Yeah, but you got to realize that there are people out there that when they stop and think, they come to conclusions like the earth is still flat. People are not necessarily good at that, whether you give them 3 seconds or 3 years.
Agreed.
Right.
And the thing is as much as flat earthers are crazy people with the beliefs they have, most of them seem to be able to hold down a basic job and do their do their work, right? And I would not be okay with a company being like, oh, this person believes this crazy thing and they're doing their job fine, but we're going to fire them because we don't like the crazy thing they believe. Like, that's crossing a line. Problem. And I don't know. I think sometimes companies are justified and other times, if that, I don't know.
I don't think people
I'm not on board with the way that some things go down at certain
if it's my company,
I agree with the people, but I think that it's an overcorrection.
I think if it's my company, I think I get to make the rules.
Yep.
Boom.
Basically.
No, I agree with that. But some of those rules in that company are being made a certain way because of pressure from fans and public and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, because that's who pays us. That's why we have paychecks. So yes, yes, they do get a say in this.
So
and they can fire whoever is going to mess with their image.
Yeah.
Yes.
Period.
I had this exact same discussion with my younger brother this morning because he read it and he started texting me like at 6 a.m. and he's like, "We need to talk about this." And I said, "Okay, so
I still haven't read it, so I'm not defending it. Sorry.
Here's a thought experiment that I came up with. Let's say, for example, you have a company that deals with people in person. I know it's an antiquated concept, and you have an employee who says things that your clients find distasteful, and they're upset. And you speak to the employee and you say, you need to stop saying that stuff. And the employee says, "Oh, but it's true." And I'm like, okay, maybe our clients are short, fat, and ugly, but you can't tell them that. Like, it might be true, but I'd rather you not keep saying that to them because you're going to turn people away and the business is going to go under. How many times do we expect the employer to continue to ask their employee to stop saying things, even if it's true, that is costing you business before you say, "You know what? I'm done with you as an employee. There's the door." And so,
I mean, to one degree, it's a little different with public figures and whatnot. But like generally speaking, if an employer is getting complaints about somebody because of something that they've done in their private personal life, like they're online, it's not work, right? Like if they're keeping their ideas not at that job, and the only reason that there's complaints is because some people on the internet decided to track down the employer and phone in a bunch of because people do that kind of thing, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That may have actually no impact on that person's business because there may be local people don't even know whatever it is. This person has some shitty beliefs, but they're doing their job. Like even people with shitty beliefs need to be able to like eat food and have a house, right? Like you're not going to get through to people or have them become better people by like thrusting them into poverty by taking their work away, right? Like that's just going to make them more bitter and crazy. To me, it's just not a great solution, right?
Yeah, and like there's a difference too between being honest and being too honest.
There's also a difference between being somebody who just works in a factory and Gina Carrera.
If there was a flat earther that was a Walmart greeter and they did their job well, fine. If they're actually stopping,
I'm talking about flat earthers.
The store and saying,
"What are you, an idiot? You think
hatred. Like obviously it's flat." Then that's different because they're at work, right? But if they're able to like maintain some,
I don't think people are going to say, "I'm going to stop going to your Walmart because one of your greeters is trying to convince me that the Earth is flat."
They might.
A functional bigot.
Okay,
I'm a high-functioning bigot.
If you're about spewing hatred, that's a different story. That's not a flat Earth thing, right?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know I still haven't seen this thing.
But also when you have a public platform or you are a public persona, you carry with that certain other requirements, I think.
Responsibilities.
Yeah. I mean, the public has put you on a
stop Trump.
Yeah, but we could spend days unpacking that. But I think it's a double-edged sword. Oh, everybody wants to have everyone pay attention to what they're saying, but as soon as they say something that has consequences for them, they're like, "Oh, well, you can't." I wasn't at work; I was standing outside in the parking lot. But you're saying things using your platform that is costing me, your employer, potential revenue. Why should I keep you?
And there's a reason why I've never done my stream with my work shirt on.
Me too. And there was a reason. Yeah.
You know, it's
And if you're an actor, I guess it's a little bit more nebulous, but then you have to be that much more careful because you're kind of always at work. I mean, yes, your pay is much better than someone who has to wear a uniform, but you're always on the clock. You're like on call at all times for personal appearances and interviews and shit like that. So yeah, your Twitter account is the same.
You're in the public eye. And the public eye is 24/7. I mean, there's a lot of ways that jobs come with them perks with trade-offs. So like, you make a lot of money, but you're always in the public eye, 24/7. You no longer have privacy because you are a public persona. In my field, if you work on a campus and part of your role comes with it accommodations on the campus, you trade off having no privacy because you're living in the middle of a residence complex, but then you don't pay rent or you pay a reduced rent because of the loss of privacy. It's actually, the laws are written that way. So yeah, it's a great job. Oh, you get to live for a reduced costs, but then you never get a moment's break where people aren't paying attention to what you're doing. So lots of careers have these trade-offs. And when you're making a couple $1 million a year and you're trading that your privacy, yeah, that means you have to stop and think, I want to say this, I want to retweet this, but is this going to cost my employer? Is this going to have a negative impact on my employer? And is that going to blow back on me? And do I care?
People make the mistake of thinking that cost is always just about money.
Right.
Nailed it right there. Free speech doesn't mean free speech without consequences. You're pretty damn able to be judged by the bullshit that leaves your damn mouth. Yep.
Your damn mouth. I could hear her saying that.
This is a relatively new thing for humans in general, right? Like
what is
the rate at which technology has grown and the degree to which things are permanent now is something that's very different from previous generations. Like, I know a number of people who are really decent people that grew up before social media existed, that had social media existed in their younger years before they smartened up, they would be fucked, right? Like
everybody except for BBA.
Like, I'm sure
I was before Facebook, all right? I still remember fucking MySpace, all right? Shut up, Mikey.
My bad. I didn't want to age you. I don't make you seem older than you were. So
what? He's only
I don't give a fuck. Everybody on here that knows me knows I'm 19. I'll be 20 next month, so fuck off.
Ouch.
I still remember MySpace, goddammit.
Yeah, me too. I had a MySpace too for the band.
Yep.
Well, I never did have a MySpace account. I just remember when it was around.
See, so you
never had Tom as a friend.
The guy's clearly an adult. Like, if he was in Canada, he would have his first riding moose by now.
Yep.
and he'd be allowed to drink
with a
this is true
green and white end on the back for new driver.
just painted on the moose.
They just use clippers. They cut it in there with the clippers. Just got a little.
See, I remember what we're doing right here, minus the video, required a 1-800 number.
Oh, fucking party lines.
Yes, and that was it.
Broadcasted all over the world. I mean, I think it's an interesting consideration that people have to make, but I don't know that it's actually conducive to like proper ability to grow as people. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think people to some degree need to make mistakes and have people not necessarily have like like you get people digging back to look for something that someone said 20 years ago to get mad at them and stuff, right? And that's I don't think that's good for society generally.
Well, it's always good to keep your eyes open and pay attention to other people's mistakes. Hopefully you can learn from them, but that's the difference between a professional and a master, right? Is the professional knows what to do, the master has learned what not to do.
And I'm not saying that this doesn't apply to this Star Wars person, because this is obviously something new. But like, generally, I do think if we're going to have social media, we're going to have people with the permanent record kind of situation, which is not really a natural thing that we would normally have within
Sure,
our
it is.
species in general.
All this technology has evolved with us, so it has
Yes, but
now
I don't
naturally
think
become
that
a part
we've
of our life.
necessarily evolved socially to deal with that yet,
Of course not.
because it's pretty new.
But it's happening right now.
It's happening right now. But I think one of the things that we're going to have as a society to some degree, obviously context sensitive, but we're going to have a greater ability to forgive people for their past if we're going to be constantly aware of it, and some tolerance that people will have made mistakes, and that those things aren't permanent, that people do actually change sometimes, you know?
Sure, some people are worth forgiving, some maybe not, depending on what the. Some
We don't seem
people
to be pretty. I don't think people are a very good judge of like, I don't think people judge that well, especially when the reason that someone is being targeted is sort of a mob mentality where a whole bunch of people are ganging up on somebody.
when you're anti-Semitic, you're going to be ganged up on.
Well, no, I'm not defending this person. I said this doesn't apply to them. I'm just saying in general, like human, the way we react to things. When you deal with things like disindividuation, people are quite prone to being nasty in groups, especially when there's a degree of being anonymous.
Yeah, but we always have.
And that's always been the case. But that
Mob
behavior, when you have social media in the mix, is amplified on a scale that's far larger than we have the capacity. Like the number of people deal with and are able to keep track of is only, just over 100 or so that people can usually maintain decent relationship sort of with. There's a name for it, and I've lost the name of the number, but it's sort of like the maximum number of people you can have in your life before you have to start grouping.
Oh, not Jerry, Patrick.
What? Oh, the guy that lives under the rock?
Mm-hmm.
Under the sea?
It's called the Patrick principle.
The Patrick
principle.
Ooh,
I'll see if I can figure out what it's called.
The certain amount, I think it's 25, isn't it?
It depends on what it is that you're trying to do to maintain your social circle or your social cohesion.
Yeah.
Because communities can go up to about 1,000, 1,200 before they start to fracture.
Dunbar's number.
Oh,
for you, Captain.
It's the limit to
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The cognitive limit to number of people who can exist within a group separately before you have to start being like, well, this is the group of people that do this thing, right? Like, and people sort of subcompartmentalize categories, and they tend to judge those groups as a group. So like somebody messes up in a group, then you get a whole group. And there's like guilt by association almost sort of thing. And it's like a normal human psychology. But I mean, if we're aware that we have a propensity to deal badly with certain scenarios, which we do, then we're going to have to learn to be more tolerant of certain things, like particularly people's ability to know that just because you found out somebody did a bad thing, if they did it a long time ago, you shouldn't necessarily be equally annoyed as though it had just happened. But it's not time changes things, you know?
It's not like we only have 5 actresses on Earth. So
I'm not talking about this actress.
No one said, okay. Now you stop it. You have been hogging the mic this whole time. I did not say that you said that. Did I? Okay. Now let me finish my thought.
Go ahead. Sorry.
There's tons of actresses and actors and lawyers and all kinds. There's tons of people out there. So if people get in trouble, that's okay. There's more people that will take their spot and we can move on. And if we evolve on later to do different things, then that's cool too. But if not, someone will replace her. And we will go on as a community, dragging everybody, kicking and screaming the entire way.
It's the free market, man.
Perhaps tolerance really isn't the solution. Because maybe tolerance is what got us into this pickle in the first place. Greater education, greater understanding.
Oh, yeah, it's the tolerance
people,
paradox.
and
they'll go
preventing these problems from happening.
And they'll also,
redemption is real. That's something that does need to be considered because people can change. I've changed personally. And
how? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, and then Mikey's talking about they'll go kicking and screaming. The community goes on. That's what people will do, and because they're too lazy to start their own new communities that are better most of the time.
Yeah, we don't have to hang on to the old stuff. We'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean it's a trust issue, right? Because we've been raised in a world full of lies. We're being lied to, just bombarded by lies from just so many directions, and you don't know who to trust. So it really comes down to you start agreeing with charisma, whoever can present themselves the best, whatever sounds the best, instead of teaching the best methods for understanding truth and investigating things. So it's just whoever comes along that is the most comforting. And you get a lot of people that start believing actual lies because there's just whoever presented them to them came from a trusted source, and they were a nice person, and they presented a case that sounded good, and they just want to go against the grain. I'm not talking about as a whole, but this is it's definitely a thing.
Trust is definitely part of it, but familiarity plays in a big way as well. Like there are people who'll go back to people who are not trustworthy because it's more familiar to them, and they don't want to engage in the unknown.
Do you think this is a person you can just forgive because they murdered someone? What if you met someone that killed like an infant?
It depends on
in
the
cold blood.
circumstance.
Why? You do something like that, I'm sorry, you lose your rights.
I mean, it depends on the circumstance.
Fuck you.
Yep.
No. What if they murdered an infant in cold blood?
Like on purpose?
These are social.
That's what in cold blood means.
Well, that's also what murdered means, because murder is a legal term, not a action.
That's right. That's right.
Intentional homicide.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, so long as there was no other factors, that's probably not somebody I would want to be around.
I don't give
It
a
doesn't
fuck
necessarily
about
mean
other
they can't
factors,
perform.
man. That's bullshit. That's like there's a point where you can be too nice about shit, and that's just not something that.
No, it's not
you,
that. So,
you rape and murder an infant. I don't give a fuck about factors.
You're
No,
done.
it makes
You're
it
done at
bad.
that
You're
point.
adding crimes to this as you're going.
yeah, you're adding crimes as you go to make it worse.
No, I think.
I
think
thought I said that to start with. I apologize.
I
using
think
an
Neil's
actual
point is very.
incident in something that actually happened in reality.
Yeah, Neil's
Nobody's
point is
forgiving
very.
this guy.
And Neil's point is very
I mean,
clear.
all I'll say is this, right? If you talk to people who do, like, when you talk to people in psychology, you talk to therapists, talk to things like that, most of them will say if somebody does that, right, like, it's usually because they're fucked up in some way, right? Like, I don't think a normal, well-adjusted individual is going to go around murdering infants, right? Like, there's
Some
something
people
wrong
just
with
need
this
medication to stop that behavior too. There's
What?
all kinds of different factors. Yeah.
So, like, from a counselor or from a therapist perspective, if you're dealing with that kind of person, right? Like, if somebody says, like, here's a fucked up person, they did this terrible thing for whatever reason, fix this person, like, they need help in some regard. You have to have the ability to believe that there's some, like, you're either wasting your time entirely, or there's an ability for this person to at least identify if they can have this fixed, or if some mitigating factor was there. Do they have some kind of psychotic break? Do they need a medication? Like, what were the circumstances? And so that would matter to me, right? I'm not saying that would ever excuse or lessen the behavior, but it's still a singular moment in time. That person could live a life and never do that thing again, right?
And I mean, sometimes too, somebody will say that they've gotten help and they're better, and then they go back to doing what they were doing, like
Sure. That's
2
the
weeks
risk
later.
of trying to reform people, but like that doesn't. Certainly, if somebody's dangerous in that regard, there's a different set of circumstances. But I mean, when it comes to people believing crazy things, there's, you deal with a lot of people who deal with incredibly like cognitive dissonance when it comes to, like, when you talk about people getting convinced of religion. I mean, there's a lot of bigotry baked into religion, right?
Sure.
But there's a lot of religious people who don't want to be bigots, right? Like, I've certainly known people who felt like homosexuals were going to go to hell, but they didn't
I
hate
used
them.
to be
They
one of
wanted
those
to like
people.
them. They didn't understand it. I don't know why God is this way, because they seem like good people, but he knows better, right? And there's this cognitive fight. And for some people, that's what pulls them out of religion, right? It's where they can't reconcile these things. But
And I used to be one of those people that used to think, it's whatever, but the gay people are all going to hell. And I used to be like way deeper than that. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg, but I used to be way deeper.
Iceberg.
Now,
into that.
did you find that was like a confusing thing, or were you like, yeah, I hate these gay people?
No, it was a thing of it's a simple word called indoctrination.
Sure. Right. But that's the thing, right? When people are
That's what I was
crazy
taught
ideas,
to believe.
like I feel like they need to be pulled out of the crazy ideas.
Yeah, because that's what I was taught to believe when I was a kid. Is the whole hate the sin, not the sinner, but the homosexuals are still going to hell, so it doesn't really matter.
And it would even be to the point, like if you were Baptist, you'd be like, Catholics aren't doing it right. They're all going to hell too. And then the Catholics are like, those Lutherans, they don't have it right. They're going to hell too. So everyone had like even amongst religious people, they don't think that other parts of people in the same religion technically are they're all going to hell too. Just only this church is not going to hell. But it was funny. Like we never had like super crazy outreach programs for the church down the street, which was Lutheran. It was only for like, those gays, gotta fix them up. I was like, but there's a church right there, and you said they're going to hell. Oh, okay. You don't actually mean what you say.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look, and I mean too, like, because for anybody not in here, because y'all all know me, but for anybody watching, I'm an ex-Catholic, and if you look at the differences between the Catholics, the Roman Catholic denomination, and the rest of the other Protestant denominations, actually Lutherans are the closest things to Catholics.
Right.
So I don't know. I just want to put that in there for the hell of it.
Let me get a list going here.
Okay, so now that we've talked about that, this after party is supposed to be about having some fun, and that's a pretty harsh topic. And all I can say, just the last word on this, is Gina acted like an ass, and she paid for it.
Word.
Yeah.
What you drinking there, Neil? What you got to drink tonight?
I already showed, man. It's Alexander Keith.
We're gonna go around. It's a thing.
Oh, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Nothing unusual. I always tend to drink these or the Caribou blonde ales or the dark stuff like the porter.
Drinking a pine cone. Got it.
Drinking a pine cone.
Fucking IPAs. They taste like the smell of the little evergreen trees.
What? What the fuck IPAs are you drinking?
The hops. Hops taste like pine.
No, they don't.
He's in America.
I don't think he knows real hops.
You know what? I don't want to be up here with you Canadians.
How about you?
Neil doesn't know what the hell you're talking about. The pine trees there smell like maple syrup.
Mikey, does cilantro taste okay to you?
Oh yeah, right. That's genetic.
Yeah, I do have the cilantro thing.
You taste like
it tastes like soap.
It tastes like chemicals.
Yeah, that would affect your hops taste.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I was right, but my body's broken.
It's not broken. It's just genetically different. We went through this the other night. Remember?
Yeah, they taste like hops. They don't taste like fucking pine trees or.
Well, they made to some people who like cilantro tastes like soap to some people.
Yeah, I can't eat it. I can taste one little leaf in my food. I'm like, do they have soap on here? Thank you, Nerdy.
Another strange one is asparagus. It causes a certain odor to come from urine, but not a lot of people can smell that.
Yeah, it's because their body breaks it down into the amino acids.
I can smell it too.
Yeah, me too.
Huh. So cilantro and hops are cousins, and that's why I hate IPAs. All right. Well, now I know. So let's just add that to the list of things I can neither consume nor enjoy, along with oxygen.
You can consume it. You just won't like it.
It just tastes so bad to me.
Soap. It actually tastes like soap to people who have a certain gene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Titan is saying it tastes like soap for them too. So
I'll There's some other brews if you ever come down this way, Mikey.
I smell burnt toast.
Sure.
That's a different genetic thing.
But hang on. This is serious. If you're smelling burnt toast and there's no burnt toast, you should probably talk to your doctor.
It's a joke, Randall.
Yeah, it's a joke, Randall.
That's good. That's really.
Check the kitchen.
So I didn't know what the prevalence of the gene that makes cilantro taste like soap is, so I just quickly looked it up, and it ranges from 3 to 21% of the population.
Wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste like soap to me, so I'm not one of those people.
Is it
So
different geographic areas?
Yeah, it is. So in the Middle Eastern populations, it's less than 3% have that gene, but in East Asians, it's as high as 21%.
Huh.
Maybe they don't cook it with a whole lot of cilantro in that culture.
Hang on. Does East Asian
No one likes soap food.
No. Does East Asian include Chinese? Because cilantro is quite popular in Chinese communities, I find.
Lost IQ.
Trying to see.
Well, those people are all intelligent and they don't want food that tastes like soap. Why would you guys want soap flavored tacos? You bunch of weirdos.
How do you know that there aren't people that don't like the taste of soap?
Yeah,
but just think, to me, until I knew that this gene thing was a thing, I was looking at everybody like they were insane for eating cilantro on their food. I'm like, this is disgusting. Like, this is just the nastiest thing.
Irish Spring is a dessert topic.
I like Irish
Spring. That's desert, though. Dessert has 2 S's, Boomer. Come on.
You just put you get out the little grater and you just take a bar of Irish Spring and you put it over the top of your spaghetti. You know, it's just a little Parmesan.
Yeah. Or you have to run a rope.
Do you remember the Thrills gum? The Thrills gum, the purple Thrills gum that tastes like soap?
Yeah, I love that shit, man.
That's what people who have that gene say cilantro tastes like.
Well, then I like cilantro.
Hey, well, we know you like cilantro.
I know. Cilantro to me doesn't taste like Thrills gum. I know that.
Oh, okay. Well, to some people it does, and they just like both tastes. Yeah,
that sucks.
It just says
cilantro is a lot like parsley.
Quiet Gorilla, you're smart. Make a shot so that I can eat stuff again. Give me some sort of injection to change my DNA so that I can eat cilantro.
That's CRISPR.
Yeah, CRISPR me, dude.
CRISPR,
yeah. We actually have a CRISPR unit here.
Yeah, it's a UBC or something, isn't it?
No, well, we have one here.
I would like to breaking news as of like 4 weeks ago, but somebody actually their sickle cell anemia is gone. They don't require any more blood transfusions.
Wow.
Due to the CRISPR at Boston Children's Hospital. This is the first like single trial of like 2 case studies.
Wow.
To do this, and so far so good. So I think we're probably maybe 50 or so years probably from a widespread use of different methodologies, but that gives me hope for my kids.
So CRISPR, somebody explain CRISPR. Like, what do they do and how do they give that to a person?
Well, CRISPR is actually, it's an acronym. It's not a thing. Well, I mean, it is a thing.
SPR.
Yeah. And basically it has to do with the way
British potato chips.
What happened to, he was right in the middle dropping some wisdom.
You do that.
And then
the government got him. Got too close to the truth.
The CRISPR folks are like, no.
It must be my fault.
It's not patented yet.
I said the acronym. It probably triggered the NSA.
But if anybody wants to see it, there was a Nova episode regarding this not too long ago.
Oh, I missed Nova.
Right too. That was like a few months ago.
It's an educational TV program.
But they had just started when the Nova episode had come out.
Whoops. Oh, government heard you, buddy.
I went to close the thing about the prevalence of cilantro, and I closed the wrong window.
Don't cover up for those guys.
Are you being threatened?
People at CRISPR are like, there's no patent on this yet. Shut up, gorilla.
Mikey.
There's a lot of patents on it.
I'm sending a black van your way.
So how far did we get when I was out?
I said the acronym, and then you were out.
Oh, okay. So basically, certain genetic we can change the human genome by inserting pieces of corrected, we'll say corrected because it's arguable of what's the mistake, into an existing living person or living animal by writing the new sequence, infecting a bacteria that carries this new sequence into the final destination, like you, and then the bacteria infects all your cells that absorb or kind of integrate that new gene sequence, and so all your descendant cells now have that new gene sequence instead of the original defective one.
And you're a zombie.
And you become a zombie. Yeah.
Well, there was a problem in this Nova episode. They went through the fact that the one time they used a bacteria that was not
Inert.
tested well and killed several people.
So ultimately what you're saying is, number one, I get to be a zombie. Dope. Number two, I can eat tacos. Sign me up.
You can't eat tacos now?
I can't put the damn cilantro on there. It tastes like garbage.
Then don't put the cilantro on.
Then use
I
parsley
feel like I'm missing out, and I don't want to miss out. So
you can use parsley instead. It's almost the same, but it probably won't.
Zombie me. Just zombie me. It's fine.
Well, I mean, basically,
I want IPAs.
The realistic hope is that people like my kids will one day not have to worry about having heart surgery because they've had their FBN1 gene corrected.
Now, not to dispel this hope, but part of the problem with CRISPR is that when it rewrites the genetic code, it doesn't undo things that have already been done. So if your children's hearts have already grown, larger than within a normal range, it's not going to make them shrink back down.
But it will eliminate the fact that they pass it on to their kids, or it can
And it'll also as they create new collagen and things like this, it may over time slowly correct some of the other collagen defects, but it can't unwrite damage that's already been done to the growing organism. But it can change other things.
His aneurysm isn't going to go away because of this.
Right.
So people who want to customize the genetics of their children can get it done to themselves first, and then
that's the ethics.
Yeah. Well, you see. So, for example, there's a disorder called Huntington's chorea, which is a degenerative neurological disease, which is very inherited, and the likelihood of each generation having it is like 75% in each generation. So, if you correct the gene in one generation, then the likelihood of the next generation having it goes down dramatically, if not completely zeroes out. So,
would it zero out, or would you still get things that sort of like skip generations?
Right, you could get random mutations, but in certain genetic diseases, it would nearly zero out. Like, yes, you might still have the random, but depending on the gene, we were just talking about all this the other night in the after party.
There was a third one.
The hotel.
You were talking about Neanderthal DNA and stuff.
Yeah. We spent like 5 hours talking
really
about this.
Weird ethical questions about gene editing for like designer babies and whatnot. It seems to me that it's likely to just start happening. And
can I have wings?
No.
Well, I mean,
this is fucking
Mikey, Mikey, you can have wings. You just got to go to the bar.
Mikey, the big thing is that
morphologically, wings are arms. So if you want to lose your arms.
Well, I'm thinking hot wings.
Oh.
Randolph,
wrong telling me he's got to go to the bar.
What's interesting,
25% of all morphing cases are
some
first-time
would argue
mutations. So you're still going to have people that have them. There's never going to not be a market of people with genetic disorders.
We had 4 people talking at the same time, and I could only follow 2.
Okay, Mikey,
So-
you can have wings. You just got to go get them at the bar.
I can't have chicken because I'm allergic to poultry.
Apparently, Adam is the universe.
Damn. You don't look like a day over 13 billion.
I don't know. Did you see his fucking photo there? He looks pretty old in that one. Looks like that old dude that comes in later. What is it? The Poltergeist movies? The crazy old guy with the hat that comes in the second movie?
Yeah. And Mikey, the reason you can't have wings is because wings are arms. So, we might be able to gene splice you so that you lose your arms and get wings instead.
Tell that to the 4-legged dragons that have wings.
That's
all dragons have 4 legs. Still,
I think we just need to get better.
Wyverns have 2 legs.
Need to get better at adding more arms, and then we can get people wings without them losing existing arms.
You see,
just drink a Red Bull. Fuck.
You see Nerdy's comment about can CRISPR be used to fix Republicans? I think the answer might actually be yes.
Wouldn't want to waste
So
it.
there is a genetic disposition to how you feel about your political beliefs.
There is absolutely. We were talking about this the other night as well, because there's certain.
Have a smoke. I'll see you guys in a few days.
Neil, check it out.
Oh,
And this
Jameson's
is the-
cold brew.
Jameson cold brew.
Nice.
Nice.
That's like one of those things where you get that sort of slippery slope of ethics when it comes to gene editing, right?
Yeah.
Like, and what I find interesting about the proposition when people start talking about like designer babies and things like that is it's one of those things that I think you can make a pretty good argument that it wouldn't be ethical to do. But interestingly, if enough people do it, I assume that there would be a threshold where it would suddenly become unethical not to.
Yeah, if everyone else is gene editing the next generation, then if you don't give your next generation the best opportunities by gene editing them, then you're not
disadvantaging them.
That's
like,
called
if
getting
everybody's
blinded
smarter
by
and
social
faster and
standard.
stronger, then you're like letting somebody not have that. Like at a certain point, the ethics flips, and you don't often get situations like that. So
I have a
social standard.
Is it unethical to begin with? Is the
I have a perfect analogy for this. Well, reference. My favorite episode of Star Trek: Next Generation, The Measure of a Man, when that fucking rival scientist dude wanted to take apart Data to figure out how he worked, and he's like, "Oh, well, no, these are improvements, and this is going to help everybody." It's like, and then like Geordi walks up to him, and Geordi's got his little visor thing going. He's like, "Oh, does that help you see like a normal person?" He's like, "No, I can see much better than a normal person." He's like, "Well, then why doesn't everybody have one of those?" And I was like, "Oh shit, Data dropping bombs."
Exactly.
Star Trek
Data
was
dropping bombs out here. And that
those
episode
first
came
two
out,
series were the best.
and it came out like what, 91 or
Yeah,
something like.
DS9 is the best.
No, it's not. Stop saying that. It's not true.
But Mikey, did you see the first season of Picard?
I have. It's awesome.
That's the storyline.
It's beautifully done.
I love
That
it.
Picard series is just a work of art. It's amazing.
But that one episode, the Measure of a Man, is continues through the first season of Picard. That scientist is now, years down the road, has an entire lab where they've been creating artificial life based off of that information from Data.
The data from Data.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't give him any more spoilers.
No, I won't. Yeah.
Data
So yes, it is. If you loved that episode, you will love the first season of Picard.
I'm with it.
Picard is a must see. Yeah.
Do I have to get that stupid CBS All Access bullshit?
I don't know. I don't remember where. I think I got it on Crave. You see, in the
7 of
US, you guys have different streaming services than we do.
And for all the Voyager fans, we know why a lot of guys like Voyager. 7 of 9 is in the Picard series as well.
Mm-hmm.
We just need, and as an added value, 7 and 9 is in it.
So that
Double
is
sold.
7 of 9 is part of the greatest domino effect in history. So Jerry Ryan was married to was it incumbent or was he trying to win the seat?
I'm trying to remember what it was. Yeah, I remember hearing this just recently about that there was this whole domino effect about Jerry Ryan ending up on Voyager.
During the Senate campaign, it came out from Jerry Ryan. She got the part, and then because of that, their marriage broke up. And because of that, she started divulging all the salacious things that her husband had been doing, which knocked him out of the race, which basically meant that the challenger was unopposed. That challenger was Barack Obama.
Bum, bum, bum.
So, and Ryan was actually leading Obama quite big before all the news came out. And so he had to drop out of the race, and they basically had to just throw some random schmuck up there to get.
And then Obama pissed off Donald Trump, and then he became president, and it's all Jerry Ryan.
Thanks, Jerry Ryan.
That sounds like dominoes, but somebody's flipped the board.
Yeah, you guys got Trump as president because Jerry Ryan ended up on Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
7 of 9 is responsible for the last 4 years in this country.
Roddenberry rolling in his grave over this.
Yeah, here I just pulled it up, Swede. It says that actress Jerry Ryan was called in to play 7 of 9, and then separated from her husband Jack Ryan, not to be confused with a CIA operative, due to the acting schedule, and they got divorced in '99. In 2004, Jack became the Republican nominee for the open Senate seat in Illinois. During the campaign, the proceedings of the divorce became public, detailing his sex life and making him not look good. The scandal forced him to drop out the Senate seat in July, giving Democratic nominee Barack Obama the seat in a landslide victory.
He wasn't going to win that. Jack Ryan wasn't going to win that anyway. He had no
for Illinois.
I
think he was pretty popular in 2004.
Is that George Ryan?
He was actually going to lead.
Is that George Ryan's kid? Jack Ryan? Let me look. Because that would be one of the, like, what do we have? 4 or 5 out of 6 of our governors are in jail, except for Blagojevich, who just got out. George Ryan's son, Jack Ryan? ? It's from Wilmette.
See, this is a much better conversation because it doesn't require me to be mad at anybody while stoned.
Yeah, nobody
Which should, in theory, be impossible.
Well, I mean, that's the like. I'm not a naturally angry person anyway, and I drink 2 cans of liquid THC, and then people bring up this controversy and expect me to react to it.
So you bring it up again? Why exactly? Just to let it go, man.
Let it go. Let it go.
Speaking of Frozen, I got nothing on Frozen. I still haven't seen it, and I'm not going to watch it. But everybody should go watch Coco because it is a lovely, lovely movie, and I wept like a baby.
We're not talking about the gorilla.
No, not Coco the gorilla.
Yeah.
Quiet Gorilla, have you ever heard of Snowflake the gorilla?
Snowflake the gorilla?
I will.
It was the white gorilla.
Yeah, he lived in Spain.
Albino. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Snowflake was awesome. R.I.P. Snowflake.
I remember seeing Coco being interviewed. It must have been 25 years ago. And then I also saw the one where Robin Williams met Coco, and it was just amazing.
You remember that movie Congo?
Yep.
That movie terrified the shit. Oh my god, I loved it.
Don't fuck with the silverback.
Oh, it got so scary. I think that's probably why I have an irrational fear of fucking gorillas, because they're just so strong.
Yes.
And they have dog teeth.
Yes.
Read the books and you'll be even more terrified.
Nope.
The Congo books?
Why would you consider that an irrational fear, though? I mean, they are that strong, and they aren't particularly friendly to people most of the time. So I think that I would probably say that's pretty rational.
I think silverbacks are some of the most territorial animals in existence.
There's a video on the internet of a road. There's like this, Land Rover Defender driving down this road, obviously somewhere in savannah or on the edge of a jungle. And then all of a sudden you see the grass part and a silverback come out, stop in the middle of the road, look at the vehicle, and then just stay there while the rest of the gorilla family crosses behind him. And he's kind of like, don't move. My family's going behind me, and you're staying right there.
I'd hate to have to throw your shit across the Serengeti.
I thought you were going to be like, and then all of a sudden the grass parted and this gorilla shot across and hit the car and knocked it over.
That's only in the movies.
Like Rampage.
Now, the one of the things that I found interesting when I was studying this stuff is that all vertebrate species on the planet have a specific species of louse or lice, and it like the species go together. So this louse is from this species, except humans have 2. We have 2 different species of lice. We have lice that live like above our shoulders and lice that live in our pubic region, and they're not the same species. They're actually different species. And the one that
crabs.
Yeah, crabs. Yes, welcome, Neil. And the ones that live in our pubic region are closely related to those that are indigenous to gorillas.
Oh man, you got that gorilla lice. You got them itchy scratchies.
Yeah. So it
She got
appears
that cocoa snowflake.
Yeah. So I remember we were discussing this in class, and we are like, so there's a couple of explanations about how it is that humans ended up evolving with two different species, and and we have two different species because they won't move, right? Like once, like the species that have been up here, there is no pathway anymore because we're not that hairy for them to move down and for the other ones to move up.
Shit.
Since we started
forming between a species of
primates,
animals, and then you have two populations that evolve.
Right. That's how we ended up with chimps and bonobos, because the the Congo River divided chimps into two populations, and we have the continued chimps and we have the bonobos. And
also afraid of chimps.
The bonobos, though, like there's some interesting stuff on bonobos as well.
Very interesting stuff.
Have you ever read?
All they do is
by Christopher Ryan.
Sorry, what by Christopher Ryan?
It's a book by Christopher Ryan called "Sex at Dawn: The Prehistoric Origins of Human Sexuality," or some title like that. But it actually has not as much to do with sex as it does to do with like anthropology and like how certain things affected the species development, like farming and different things. But there's a huge amount of information that they did in research on the bonobo and on different primates, and it's pretty interesting stuff. Pretty interesting read.
Yeah,
I don't know that I agree with all of it, but it's pretty good.
The bonobos, up until like 50 years ago, we thought of were just what we called pygmy chimpanzees, and then when we started doing genetic testing, we realized they're not actually chimpanzees, or different subspecies. But chimpanzees are patrilineal and bonobos are matrilineal.
One of the other things too that I found interesting is apparently post-traumatic stress disorder is something that chimps don't get from fighting each other and whatnot, but that's pretty prevalent within because the bonobo are relatively non-violent.
Wait, the other thing I was going to say. Chimps are far more naturally aggressive than bonobos. Bonobos are very laid back, easygoing, and the question that one of the questions we looked at when I was studying this stuff was that, is it because of the matrilineal society structure, right? Like the female bonobos are in charge of bonobo societies, but the male, the alpha male chimp is in charge of the chimp society.
But also there aren't any bonobos that there's no power struggle for sex because they're just all having sex.
Right. I was going to say, and
so
they
it doesn't matter who's in
sex.
charge. Yeah.
Right.
They
perhaps some grapes.
They fuck about it. That's like their go-to strategy. Like something rustles in the bushes, and the bonobo are like, might be the last opportunity. Quick, let's get to it.
There's a rustle in the bushes. Like, no, I'm gonna fuck it. No, it's like, no. Yeah. Down, Barry.
So one of the things that I always wondered is, if you can have chimpanzees and bonobos literally living on opposite sides of the river, and yet a million years later they've become two very different animals, right down to the kind of way they structure their communities. Why do we assume that human beings are one? Is it not possible that we have like the chimp equivalent of human beings, hyper aggressive, patrilineal, very fearful of the world around them, and then bonobo type human beings who are matrilineal and easygoing and just want to have sex with everybody?
I mean, I've thought about this when I was reading this. Like, I do a lot of work with different types of people, right? And I've thought about that. You have two very divergent behaviors, and we seem to have people that fit into both categories, right? Like, you have people who are obviously completely sociopathic that have no problem with any degree of violence, no remorse, what I mean? Like, they're just if
this is just going to be a bash America and Canada's bonobos and America are chimps session. Look, I don't have to take this, all right?
Like, no, I used to be.
Why do we need to bash America? Where everybody already knows Canada's a nice, free place to be.
Yeah, be the bonobo.
Then we should get T-shirts for neonology.
That's what I was.
Be the bonobo.
I was going to say that for a long time I've been saying there should be a "Be the Bonobo" T-shirt, because bonobos are fucking awesome. They don't fight. They're chill. They just want to like hang out and eat food,
sleep, and screw.
That's it.
Yeah.
And like, I think that people have the capacity to be as cool as the bonobo if they try. But everybody wants to think that they're all chimps, and that's not good.
Can bonobos eat cilantro?
Probably.
They probably could. I don't know what it tastes like to them.
It'd be
and I don't know
really,
how to
it'd be
ask
really
them.
funny. It'd
Well,
be
you
really
can
funny.
eat
Does
it
it taste like
too.
soap to you?
you hand them soap and like, that was number 1. Now here's cilantro. Does that taste like number 1? Does
Number
it
one or
taste
number
the same?
Well, you got to give them a palate cleanser in between.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to put
mean-
that
Beer.
quote, "Be the bonobo," on my website for David.
There you go.
David's quote for tonight: "Be the bonobo."
But there'd be a funny experiment. Try to give some chimps some cilantro and some bonobo some cilantro, and see if there's a trend as to
Oh yeah.
which side likes it or not. Maybe that's a genetic divergence that we have that goes back.
No, that's just gonna prove I'm a chimp. Damn it. I don't need proof of it.
Better a chimp than a chump.
Might turn out that you're a bonobo.
Did you hear something? I heard the wind rustling.
A floorboard creaked.
The snake in the grass.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite. Did you know about Japanese architecture? Was the in the Shogun era, they intentionally made all the floorboards creaky
Oh,
For assassins.
so that assassins couldn't sneak up on you.
That's what I did on my stairs. Fucking annoying as shit. God, I hate
Every floorboard would be loose and creaked.
I should, you know what? I do need to start putting. Okay, go. We can go around the horn here. What booby trap should I install in my home?
None, because those are actually illegal and you will be liable for if somebody gets hurt, even if they're breaking into your house.
They're illegal in Canada too.
booby traps.
That's not fair.
Yeah, that's what got.
Unless you're talking about the booby traps known as nipple clamps, then you can have those.
Booby trap. Oh, there it is.
They're only traps if your hands aren't free.
Oh my! Where are we? What is happening? So if I fix up something where someone steps on an X and then next thing they know they're hanging upside down by their ankle, I'm in trouble.
Yep.
Well, don't come in my house and step on the X.
There was a case here many years ago of a burglar who went up on the roof and fell through the skylight and broke
There
their
we
leg.
go. Be the
And they
bonobo.
sued the homeowner for it,
Nice.
and they won.
That's not fair.
What the media didn't cover is that there was an appeal and a second case where that was reversed, but nonetheless, it's still there's grounding for it in the law that if they were found negligent for looking after their place properly, then
So
because that's expected normal use by a burglar, that the skylight's not going to fall in.
So if I have like a detached garage and I have all of my dream cars are out there, and I have bear traps all around the
You
cars,
would be liable for that.
Yeah,
liable for what? You're not supposed to be there.
because the bear traps should be stored a little bit more safely.
Yep.
It was inside a locked garage that they broke into. So
It's a reasonable expectation.
So if I break into like a kitchen and cut myself with a knife,
Then you're not liable for that. It's like intentionally set up booby traps are illegal.
that's where I always keep my bear traps.
Right outside your front door.
It was air drying. I just washed them earlier that day, and they were air drying.
Well, Mikey, you're setting yourself up for the court case of the century, I'd say.
Where's Johnny Cochran?
There was a guy here.
Let's just say it doesn't cover like spreading Legos out over your living room floor when you go on vacation.
Oh, see, okay, that's good. Okay, we'll go with that. I can't be lethal, obviously, because lawyers.
That'd be murder.
Yes, but marbles. Can I do like the marble?
Marbles may cause harm, whereas Legos would just make them scream in pain.
Now,
That's
It
fine.
would not be unexpected for someone to find Lego on the floor of a person's home.
Oh, I got culpability then.
Mikey, you're thinking about this wrong. You need to disguise your house. It has to be your alibi. So you need to disguise your house to make it appear that you're a hoarder, because they're in naturally dangerous environments. You can stack bowling balls on top of things, all sorts of crazy. And that's just the risk of going to your hoarder.
As somebody who strives to be smart and lazy, I'm still working at it. It seems a lot easier to me to just get an alarm system.
Well, that's not very fun to talk about. I want to have fun.
Mikey wants to channel his inner Macaulay Culkin. And
The alarm
Yeah.
system companies will install
Yeah,
the
that's what I
alarm
was
for you.
thinking.
You don't have to do anything.
Watch Home
What
Alone too.
What if I had like a live wire connected to the door handle?
So
And
you'd
then
electrocute
connect that
the
wire
person.
to the stove
Oh yeah, you could get
so
charged
that the
with
heat gets
attempted manslaughter.
conducted to the door handle.
This is not fair. I can't do nothing.
Yeah, you could be liable for manslaughter or attempted manslaughter with that one.
So what if I don't shovel the steps for the burglar and he slips on the ice? I'm liable for this.
Yes,
If-
actually.
I'm talking about
if you-
hooking electric up to the door handle.
If you haven't shoveled within a reasonable amount of time, which is determined by your local jurisdiction, like here where I live, it's 48 hours from the end of the last snow.
Yeah, in back east, the city bylaw is that you have to maintain a certain distance in front of your house.
But if you're out of town and there's nobody at your home, they sometimes make exceptions for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. But as a homeowner, you're obliged to maintain a safe property.
Well, someone better go back in time, call Kevin, and tell him that putting ice all over the steps that go into the basement is against the law.
Homeowner or occupant of the home.
Well, yeah, and it's also like reasonable steps. So if I shovel and put salt out and stuff like that, but there's still a small ice patch somewhere, that's usually not going to get you in trouble.
Also, if you did any of these things and were 9, that might be a good defense.
What if I suspended all of my furniture from the ceiling and my floor was literally lava?
Yeah. To David's point, age does make an exemption for culpability, but it does not necessarily make an exemption for insurance.
So, Mikey, that would still make the court case of the century, I think.
Like if you recreated the Home Alone house of booby traps and stuff, and it actually worked out just like that all the way through, I think you might actually get like TV and book deals out of that would pay for all of your liability.
Totally be worth it.
Well, but if it's a child underage doing it in self-defense,
I mean, if white Republicans can get out and go on their vacations after storming the Capitol in seditious acts,
can you imagine the movie trailer for the documentary? A simple burglar assumed that movies were purely fiction and that Home Alone could never happen to him. That was until
the Mikey famine arrives.
Every holiday, Mikey sets up his house in an attempt to make it really happen.
So how many people
been
from that insurrection attempt got arrested by the FBI now? They got quite a lot, didn't they?
Yeah, I heard last time I heard it was over 40.
Yeah.
There was a lot more than 40 people there, though.
Oh, yeah.
There's a literal website tracker.
But it's people that you have to identify and track down. And what's the guy who claims to be one of the organizers? Ali Ahmed, I think his name. Anyway, he's apparently hiding. And he just released a video in the last day or two where he admits to the fact that he's fled and he's hiding. And he claims to be one of the organizers.
That's going to go badly.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think that's the Proud Boy guy. The Proud Boy president.
I'm interested to see what's going to happen tomorrow, because tomorrow is
the beginning of the defense.
The defense is going to be funny. It's maybe somebody should get in touch with Donald Trump's defense and tell them to argue that it's Jerry Ryan's fault.
I changed my name for good.
My defense is going to be an explanation of hard determinism and that I had no choice and I'm not culpable.
Yeah.
Trump employing the philosophical defense.
My favorite article of the last couple of days has been like people have been interviewed, like law firms, and they're like, well, if the Southern District of New York, goes after him, would you guys defend him? And everyone is like, I ain't touching that. No way, no how.
His lawyers quit on him.
Yeah.
They're not going to get paid.
I thought of a loophole.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing that's interesting about Trump's defense is right now, if they did the vote, Trump would walk. Right? Like other Republicans aren't going to. But he has such bad lawyers, and the original lawyers that walked away because the argument he wanted to make is it's actually everybody's fault because the election was stolen. So if he actually makes that argument and puts the Republicans in the position where if they do not remove him, they're like tacitly accepting this blame, they may have some of them forced into a position where they feel like they have to remove him. Like it's his to lose, and he's got a crack up team to lose it for him.
I've thought of a loophole. What if I declare my home as like a historical site and it's a booby trap museum
or a theme park?
These are all displays
Halloween
of
haunted house.
What's the theme? All of the pain that you can experience. Like,
this is my
like an S&M club that you're like starting.
I'm feeling like you're shaming me right now, and I don't like that.
It can be the Home Alone theme park. Come enjoy the real experience of the Home Alone house.
Enjoy the nail through the bottom of your foot. That was some of those pranks were like not pranks, like they were like very Tom and Jerry, Three Stooges-y. But then like watching it as like a 30-year-old, I was like, oh, that's nerve damage. You can't just stick a nail up somebody's foot. Like he'll never walk again.
He's a tetanus shot. Where's his tetanus shot?
just post a sign and a stack of waivers for any would-be robbers.
No, you want to rob this house.
Please be advised, this house contains some variety of life-threatening traps. Please sign here acknowledging that you accept the risk of breaking into this house.
Just get a Bluetooth repeater so that when they get near your house, they automatically get a notification on their phone.
And keep the change, you filthy animal.
There it is. But then I'll have the pin connected to a car battery, so when they pick it up, there's an electric.
Like, can you imagine if you started walking up to somebody's house and your phone beeped and you looked at it and it's like, this is a notification. You're approaching a facility that has dangerous traps.
Tons of mice. But I won the Super Bowl. I'm going to Famine Land.
Famine Land. Wow.
Yeah, the Republican groups have come out and said, well, they found a bunch of points that the Chiefs scored at 4 a.m. and so
I guess too. Which here's a thing. Maybe you'll know the answer to, Mikey, but it's a pretty specific question. It's a point
14.
of confusion.
42.
If there's a trial going on in the Senate, and some of the senators are forced to recuse themselves for any reason, does the required number of votes change with the capacity of who's remaining?
No.
Like, if you had a case where, say,
no.
50% of people were recusing themselves, would you now only need 2/3 of the remaining qualified people?
Nope.
Okay.
Most legislation writes whether it's the total number of the assembly or the total number of those present to vote, and in this case, it's the total number of the assembly.
The only way that that number goes down is if the impeachment and removal hearing is against the senator itself.
Right, because they wouldn't count that Senate seat.
Yep.
What if somebody was determined to be directly involved in whatever the other person was accused?
Yeah, I know the
like Ted
Cruz and those.
Like
yes,
Ted Cruz, right? Because also, I guess that this evening, Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham and a couple of the other senators that were into stuff went and met with Trump's defense team, which is the defense team meeting with the jurors, which shouldn't be allowed. I would think it seems like a conflict of interest. So if they were forced,
Trump is meeting
the
with
U.S.
the jurors?
government.
Sorry, Trump's meeting with the jurors.
The senators. Some of the
senators.
senators met with Trump's defense team
after hearings today in private,
Yeah.
off the books, and
the defense starts tomorrow. So in advance of the defense presenting their case, some of the senators who were voting on the matter in the end met with the defense team.
Yeah. This isn't the bailiff coming in to tell them what they can and can't do. This is
The U.S. system is too screwed up to be reliable. I wasn't joking.
Yep.
We know that's why it's a painful laugh.
It's not a happy laugh. But I think that
I think we're outnumbered. There's like 4 Canadians here. This is disturbing.
I guess in that scenario, are those just spoiled votes that count as no vote, or would they
whenever
reduce?
people whenever people talk about who is and isn't going to vote, they basically automatically count those 11 senators that they know
aren't going to cast a ballot,
are not going to cast a vote to remove because they were involved in the whole damn thing to begin with.
What I find interesting is all the ones who are now saying that Trump didn't start this and there wasn't anything Trump could do about it, and yet during the actual event themselves, they were, tweeting to Trump to say something to get these people to stop it. But now you're saying that he couldn't have done anything, so why were you asking him to on the day off?
Yeah,
it's Schrodinger's insurrectionist.
Wow.
It's like Schrodinger's immigrant. It's the same thing. Republicans just love Schrodinger.
But there's no internal consistency with their thinking. It's all in the moment. What I want it to be right now.
I think the mistake is assuming that there's thinking going on.
Yeah, I mean, and this is why I said that I don't think that anybody is weighing the evidence in this situation. I think everybody's gone to this knowing what their vote is going to be. But the only hitch in the matter is what is implied by the defense team. And if the defense team implies the wrong things, you may have some of the other... Because, I mean, a number of Republicans in the House and a couple of fairly respected ones are already saying that they're probably going to vote to remove, right? So it's
he's already removed.
Every time people talk
to prevent future office, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To remove the future ability to convict.
Yeah, to convict on the impeachment, to determine what the punishment will be.
Yeah.
Quick little thing here. Sorry, Matt Dillahunty just got a dog.
Oh, I see. Wow, that earlier.
That's a fox.
That should be. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
His name's Hero.
H-I-R-O?
As in like H-E-R-O or J-I-R-O?
H-I-R-O.
Oh.
Like the same
and he cleans beards.
Hirohito?
Like Hirohito, yeah.
And he's a beard cleaner.
And he's
Got
a beard
one of them.
cleaner.
Yeah. It's a good dog.
He claims it's his new roommate.
Yeah, I seen that earlier. Adorable.
Yeah.
There you go. So sorry, I just wanted to show that.
Well, but it also explains what you've been fixated on for the last 5 minutes.
No, it's cool. Don't worry about it, Neil. They just been telling me I can't have anything fun. This is just ruin my fun stream. I can't have wings. I can't eat tacos. I can't.
You can eat whatever.
We might actually be able to help you eat tacos.
Yeah, dig into the.
But you said you can't eat tacos because you can't eat poultry. But what about beef?
No, I can have that. No, the wings I can't eat because it's poultry.
Can you fix the chicken thing too, though? Could you fix the chicken allergy?
Depending on what the problem for the allergy is, yeah, you can do gene replacement and get rid of the allergy.
If I could get rid of all of my allergies, I don't care how much work it would take, how much money it would cost. Really? I'm there.
I mean, Mikey, it would be an experiment. They'd probably pay you.
Well, now we're fucking talking my language.
I might just experiment on him, but hang on a second. Let me see what the origin of poultry allergy is.
Yeah, if you look at what the people are getting paid that are doing the sickle cell treatment, they're basically getting paid to live in Boston with a stipend.
Oh.
Or for 3 years while this is happening.
Are you allergic to eggs too, Mikey?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
Well, that's good for vaccine.
Why do you ask that?
Because I'm just reading here about poultry allergies, and sometimes it comes with egg allergies too.
No, me and eggs go way back. Eggs and chorizo. Wrap that shit up in a tortilla. Oh yeah, you're cooking with gas now.
And add some choros.
That's not what I was looking for.
Eggs are just liquid chicken, basically. Anyway.
Well, they're not fertilized, so maybe I'm allergic to.
Could it be some sort of a bacteria that grows
chicken spermaceti?
Well, in most allergies, it's a result of you having your immune system being triggered by a protein that's unique to that particular product. So, like for people who have allergies to things like strawberries or kiwis, it's actually in the skin of the fruit. And when the protein on the skin gets, comes into contact with something in your mouth, it causes your immune system to recognize it as a foreign invader.
Can't have strawberries.
What about kiwis?
It's a little itchy, but not bad.
Yeah, because strawberry kiwi tends to go together because the proteins are similar. Wow, you really do have a whole host of allergies.
I can't eat anything. That's why I just drink.
Is there something you think that maybe is a commonality between the things that you're allergic to?
Yeah, he has a crappy immune system. His immune system recognizes far too many things in his environment as being a foreign invader.
Everything. Don't eat anything.
Yeah.
He
It's
ate food. Kill it.
Exactly. And that doesn't belong here, and that doesn't belong here, and that doesn't belong here.
Come on, guys. I'm really hungry.
Can you gene edit some anti-anxiety genes for his immune system?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure. If we know the gene that causes the immune system to respond to that particular protein when he comes into contact with the food item, whatever, then you can gene edit it so that gene's no longer there, which means his immune system will then won't trigger when he comes in contact with that protein.
What about bee allergies?
Same thing. It's all the same thing.
Yeah. That would be interesting. I know that bee allergies run in my family.
Yeah, so if you can find the gene that causes the immune system to now, it might not be a single gene. It could be a sequence of genes. It could be a whole host of different, which makes it harder. But if it turns out it's one single error in one single gene, and you replace the error, and then all of a sudden the immune system no longer becomes turned on when it sees that particular protein. It's the same thing with people who say that they're allergic to cats and dogs. There is in dogs and cats, there's an antigen that is in their skin. So it's actually not, it's in their saliva too. So when you come into contact with this particular protein, your body recognizes it as a foreign invader and you have an immune response. But not all people, of course you are, not all people have allergies to the same protein, and not all animals, like not all cats have the same protein. So not all cats are allergic to all people, and not all people are allergic to all cats. So you have to have the right allergen, the right allergic.
So what you're saying is that you could give people new allergies.
Oh, absolutely. Well, people probably have a lot more allergies than they realize. You just never come in contact with that particular protein because you don't eat it, you don't touch it, you don't inhale it. Yeah.
Like Bill Clinton. He didn't inhale.
Neil, what are you allergic to?
Nothing.
Stupid people.
No, flat earthers.
Other than that, yeah.
I think everybody's allergic to that.
I think I have everyone's allergies. Like there was like a quota for how many allergies needed to be for a given group of babies that came out at the same time. And they're like, you know what? Just dump all the allergies on this kid, and I have all of them. I got the lottery, so I'm a winner.
Have you done like a test to see?
No, I need to get that done.
It's probably super expensive where you are.
I think you have to find out what's the name of that doctor?
Immunologist.
Yeah, I gotta find one of them. But they usually, my insurance will cover most of it.
So I just found a paper from last year that says that they still don't know what the genes are. So it's specific to chicken and meat, poultry meat causing its severe allergic reactions. The molecules for poultry meat allergies are still unknown. So people are working on it, Mikey. Someone is trying to find out what exactly is involved in a poultry allergy. But someday, when they figure it out, if it's not too complicated, then yes, they can do gene editing so you wouldn't be allergic to chicken anymore.
That's the problem with a lot of this CRISPR stuff, though, is that we don't know which gene does what.
Right.
Just turn them all off.
Yeah, you do not want them to turn off your Hox genes.
You don't want them to turn off most of your genes.
Turn them off.
If you really want to like throw up, go look up or go type in Hox gene mutation and hit I'm feeling lucky.
Nah, I'm good.
But like again, going back to the
that's the gene that tells your internal organs where they go. So babies are born with their organs outside of their body.
Terrible.
That could be problematic.
Yep, it is. It's terrible.
Sounds like the making of a great deathcore song.
My organs were on my outside.
There it is, right there.
But I don't know why you would even want to bother with chicken when you can have carne asada.
That's what I'm saying. But my girl loves chicken.
Oh.
I can cook up a badass chicken breast. No idea what it tastes like.
American English is funny. Every rest of the world just calls it beef.
Oh no, wait, no,
It's
carne
Mexican.
asada, it's Mexican, and
Oh.
I mean carne is basically well,
Steak.
it's Latin / Latino for meat, and asada has to do with the way it's prepped.
Wow.
Yeah, like chili con carne basically just means chilies with meat, except when I make it, it's con carne, so it's meat with meat.
Good old meat. That's what M&M's originally stood for.
Meat and meat.
They were like little meatballs with a candy coating. It was,
Oh
Press
yeah.
X to doubt.
Allergic to fabric softener. Which food group is that? It's the same one for people that eat Tide Pods.
Yep.
remember when that was the dumbest thing going? Was stupid kids biting into Tide Pods?
Trump was elected by then.
No, it's people who put Gorilla Glue on their hair.
Did you see that, Neil?
Yes.
That people are sticking shit to their Gorilla Glue is serious shit.
What
Like,
the hell?
I have a really hard time feeling bad for this person who decided to take the thing and put it in their hair and then say, "I'm going to sue these people."
Apparently,
because
they
it
did
didn't
not say
mention
that.
hair.
Apparently, the person has come out and said that is not true. They made no overture for suing anybody. That is completely untrue. And there was a plastic surgeon who offered to try to help, and they did, and they have successfully removed the Gorilla Glue from their hair and were able to save most of the scalp.
Oh, I'm glad that wasn't true because it was like, like that's kind of like for them to be arguing like, oh yeah, it doesn't mention not to put it on your hair. It just says your skin.
I just wish we had better pictures of exactly what it did. Because all the pictures I could find were like it's the person's face, and all you see is like kind of the slicked back hair. But I'd like to know exactly. Did it turn it to like a helmet? Like
it have to,
and it's also waterproof, right?
Like, so apparently, and hands off to
to
this plastic surgeon, they made up this mixture with all sorts of like medical grade glue, anti-glue stuff, and then mineral oils, and then they soaked it into solvents, and then they kind of soaked it all, and then I mean, it took them 4 hours to get this Gorilla Glue hair mat off the person's head.
I imagine that they would have had to, they probably still got some chemical burns.
Yep,
and stuff.
they did, and that's what the plastic surgeon was worried about. That's why they offered to help for free, because of course it's down in the U.S. and you would have paid $20,000 to get Gorilla Glue off your hair. But this person did it for free, and they said that the scalp was actually in remarkably good condition, though there is some irritation and some damage to the scalp. But that's why they wanted it off, because you can't leave Gorilla Glue on your head
for very long.
Of course not. There are times that people do stupid things and you really can't feel all that bad about the consequences because it's that kind of thing.
I've super glued a cut together.
But we do that all the time.
That's different.
We have medical grade super glue for gluing things closed. That's normal.
Yeah, but like that's
but not your hair.
Like right, like that's, like you don't just go.
Yeah, my
smear that
skin
over.
of my open heart surgery was super glued on the top side. If you want to see what that looks like, I can show you a picture.
well, because old time searchers would leave like little hole scars, right? And it doesn't approximate the tissue quite as well as glue. So yeah, glue is great, but yeah, I felt really bad for that person to not realize that Gorilla Glue doesn't belong in your hair.
I mean, it's a heavy dude. It's a heavy. It's not like Elmer's school glue that's been watered down or something. Like.
Randolph. Apparently, they did not understand. Like it's a super, like fix it and holder. Like, and I guess people spray their hair with things that hold their hair in place. And I guess they thought Gorilla Glue because it was good for virtually everything, and it says not to get near your mouth or your eyes, but they didn't think that hair counted.
Wow. Oh boy.
Why is he so good?
But what I want to see is the picture of tons of mice with all these keys stuck in their fingers.
Knew this was a bad idea. Heard him talking about it. It's like, well, it definitely doesn't work on fingers and keyboards.
So the name of what they gave me was a subcuticular suture.
Subcuticle. Yeah. So the cuticle is the topmost layer of skin. And so they close it just below that layer, so you get a nice, thin, little, narrow scar.
Anybody want to see?
Haven't we seen it already?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's in my Twitter.
Better still.
Oh,
So, I don't know. Is it? Do you just go by Quiet Gorilla?
yeah, sure. Or QG.
QG. I haven't talked to you before. So, do you work in CRISPR and stuff? Is that kind of the job you do?
No. No. I work at a university.
Okay.
And my first degree was in neuroscience and psychology. But
okay.
We have a CRISPR unit here in our lab, so I like to go down and torment those people who do work with CRISPR.
Oh no, that's cool. Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
Some of the medical field though, like research stuff, is really interesting. I also know
it is.
I know a guy that works on the robot. Like I don't know if you've seen the video of the surgical robot that can like peel a grape and stuff like that. I know one of the guys who works on that stuff. Like he worked on that robot. And
yeah, that stuff's amazingly cool.
Oh man, like yeah, we got some interesting technology, and there's some interesting stuff that I was reading about for like neurological stuff. You know those twins from British Columbia, the conjoined twins?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they've been doing quite a bit of research into them because they've got this tiny little bundle of neurons that connects the thalamus of both of their brains, and they're able to like sort of telepathically communicate and pass information but through this tiny little neuron bundle, and because it's isolated. It's not effectively, like it would be like if you plugged two brains together with a wire. And
they share experiences.
They share experiences.
Communication there through the nerves.
Yeah, and so now they're doing research on this because it's almost like channeling. Okay, well we know what their shared experience is, so that information must be able to pass through that structure, and it's a narrow bundle of neurons, so they can like look at the patterning to start patterning how we would have direct brain interfaces that can like share experiences and other things. And they were saying that being able to examine these girls has jumped forward research in brain interfaces by decades, just by random chance, which is pretty fascinating.
Well, the other thing is the cost of getting an MRI done or any kind of functional neuroimaging, because 20 years ago, 25 years ago, if you wanted to be able to study a living brain, it was like $10,000. But now, because the technology is becoming refined and a lot more places are able to afford this kind of equipment, then you can now test more and more brains. So to have a set of conjoined twins conjoined at the brain that you can then put into a neuroimaging unit, some evening when it's not being used for a stroke patient, and then do some tests and go back, you get like months worth of data out of something like that. And 30 years ago, we couldn't do that.
I think that I'm trying to remember, this is an article I read a while ago, but it just struck me as interesting with what you were talking about with CRISPR, like just the future advancements and stuff. But I think they were saying that like DARPA or one of the military agencies was looking into this as well, and some other stuff. It's pretty interesting.
All this stuff is moving faster and faster, largely because of the technological advances we've been making.
Yeah.
I currently work at a very small university. Even 10 years ago, we couldn't afford a CRISPR unit because the technology was so new and so expensive.
And you're getting more and more. There's people like, you've got Elon Musk working on brain interfaces.
Yeah.
You've got the guy who runs Steam. What's his name? Gabe, I think. And they do the VR stuff, right?
Michael Crichton.
I think his name is Gabe. But
that's from the Whopper with what's that? War Games.
Yeah, I guess he was recently doing an interview because they're working on some brain interface stuff for VR or something. And he was saying to people don't understand how close something like the Matrix is. Like it's like
close.
Well, it depends on what you consider close. It's all relative.
Yeah.
The other night we were talking about this with Jenna because I don't remember. How did we start talking about traumatic amputations, Mikey? Do you remember?
We were talking about circumcision.
Oh, right. Thank you. Randolph remembers. Yeah. So we were talking about phantom
I wish
pains
I did.
and traumatic amputation, and one of the things they figured out is that you can prevent phantom pain if you don't have a traumatic amputation by deadening all the nerves first, so that when you actually remove the limb, it doesn't set up this kind of feedback loop that makes the body still think that the limb is there. And then more recently, what they figured out is if you can actually salvage some of the nerve endings and then kind of neatly tuck them up inside the stump, we can now implant electrodes into that nerve bundle and give the person not only mobility control over their prosthetic limb, but they now can build pressure sensors into the artificial foot. And MIT's done this with 2 feet for one of their own researchers. And so he has 2 prosthetic feet that he can feel the pressure so he can adjust his balance when he's walking on uneven surfaces.
There's a
Cool.
prosthetic robot hand that also has a sense
Yep.
of touch.
Yes,
now
that's
as
right.
well.
That's right. I
Yeah.
saw that.
So
Gorilla
unfortunately,
check your side chat.
okay. So unfortunately, the problem is that a lot of
Private.
people don't have their limbs removed under controlled conditions. Either they're born without it, so you don't know where the nerve endings are, or it's a traumatic event that just kind of tears the nerves apart. But if you have a limb removed carefully surgically, then they can now do all sorts of great things so that when they give you a prosthetic limb, it goes well beyond what they've had even just 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and with all of these different things sort of in development, and with some of the processing technology that we have,
Yep.
if you look at some of the machine learning stuff that's happening with synthetic video, where they're able to simulate fairly consistent people at 360 at photorealism with far less computing power, when it gets to the point where that becomes more, when those data sets grow to the point we can refine that more, it'll be not long before you could have photorealistic simulations in 360 degrees. That's not really, that's just a matter of processing enough information. It's certainly not without outside of the realm of possibility, and it's probably not that far away. I'm sure there's places already experimenting with things like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just a matter of computing power.
Yeah. And I think too, if you bypass the primary senses and direct input anything, I think the brain is very good at accepting that as real, even if it's not graphically as high fidelity.
It is, because that's all the brain is doing.
Yeah.
Well, there's a mirroring technique used for a lot of amputees who only lost one limb. They can mirror the other limb, and then the pain goes away.
Yeah. The visual system, the information that's coming through our eyes is actually, there's different cells for different shades, different cells for different colors, different cells for different angles of shade. So there's cells that respond to this, and cells that respond to this, and cells that respond to this. And then all that information is transmitted back to the visual cortex of the back of your brain in rows. And so the cells going this way are different orientations, and cells go this way are different shades, and then it superimposes the color information on top of it. So you can bypass the eye altogether and feed that information directly into the visual cortex and create the sense of seeing something without eyeballs at all.
And I mean, have you ever played anything in VR?
Yeah, unfortunately.
What did you play? I'm curious.
I haven't played the games as I've been in VR modes. In fact, we were just doing this at work the other day because one of the guys got a new VR headset, and we were screwing around in it. And it comes back to computing power. We are close, but the average consumer does not have enough power under the hood to be able to drive this stuff in any way that would make it really, for me at least, very super compelling. But yet,
you have to have a pretty high-end system, and the problem is since there's no widespread adoption, there isn't a big incentive for developing, right? So.
Right, but even 40 years ago, I got my first home PC in '84, so 36 years ago.
What kind was it?
It was a IBM knockoff 8086 with a math coprocessor and 512K of RAM.
I was just
you were
nice. And you've
I
just
was smoking.
I was
512. Holy shit!
And
that's
I had
an XP computer. Yep.
I had 2 5.25-inch drives because I splurged.
Yeah, 2 A drives. You had an A and an A minus.
Actually,
No,
they were
A and a B.
A and a B, yeah, they were A and a B because I had to load my
B was the
operating
big one,
system
right?
on one so that I can then put stuff. And they're like, "Oh, if you want to buy the extra drive, you can just leave your operating disk in your A drive while you're actually recording stuff off of your B drive." And then I actually sold a small bit of software that I wrote with my brother, and we ended up taking the money and buying a 3.5-inch drive, which cost us $300. With the 3.5-inch, I know $300 for a 3.5-inch drive, and the box of discs cost us $65. So yeah, it was
Holy shit!
crazy days. But my brother and I were trying to build. We built our first sound card because they didn't have sound, of course, and we got the instructions out of Radio Electronics magazine. And then we were trying to build our mechano sets with motors to try to make things walk, but the computer could not adjust the weight fast enough to correct. And so we thought it was going to be impossible that we'd ever end up having robots that could walk on two legs because the computers simply weren't going to be fast enough. And now look at Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
It's like they not only walk on two legs, they dance.
Yeah.
They used the robots in the War of the Worlds that they filmed over in England.
Yeah.
They used their little dog robots for that movie.
Yeah.
And that
They used something similar in a Black Mirror episode as well.
Oh yeah, right.
That pisses me off that they just went over there and just fucking made a robot that dances better than me. That's disrespectful.
Are you saying white robots can dance?
Well, maybe he had some black paint up underneath there. I don't know.
Why are you racializing the robots?
I'm just saying that motherfucker was getting down.
Because this is the internet. That's why.
But what I find interesting is it's not the robot; it's the coder. It's the person who wrote the code that computer and that robot is executing. Like, you got to hand it to them to be able to go, and now it's going to do this, write all that code, and then it'll do this, and then they just copy the code over to the other robot. And,
did they make it do that stupid floss dance from Fortnite? Because if so, that's just a waste.
The thing about the coding is the art of coding is to do it with as little code as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
there's one of the probably.
So most people don't think that way.
So we went in 36 years in my lifetime. We've gone from computers that did not have sound cards to computers that can now drive, robots fast enough that they can balance on one leg. Like,
I remember we got a 170 megabyte hard drive for $350 one time.
My
70 meg.
my second year in university, I had a 486 and it had 8 megs of RAM, and I wanted to get another 8 meg chip. And I got on my bike and I rode to the computer store with my first paycheck, and I bought an 8 meg stick of RAM for my 8086, and it cost me $499.
Cool.
For 8 megs.
The common retail back then, yeah.
It is,
and I was so happy, and I rode back as fast as I could back to my dorm and opened my and put my extra 8 megs, and everyone else in the whole residence came down to see my computer because I now had 16 megabytes of RAM.
Now, was it a SIM or a SIP kind of memory chip?
Yeah, it was a SIM back in those days where you had to have matched pairs.
Yeah, I had SIPs in mine.
Oh, did you? Yeah. No,
it's not the circuit board plugging in. It's a bunch of little pins.
Yeah, no, it was
LEDs and stuff and resistors, that kind of like metal wire. Just
I know all about that stuff.
The Sims were a lot easier to use.
We had a 8086 PC Junior that I had Flight Simulator version 1 on, and you know what? I still have the 5 1/4 inch floppy for that.
No,
I probably have some old discs for some old games. Like,
we still have all 10
kicking
discs
around.
for Windows version 3.1.
Oh, I probably do too.
I love that operating system. I love that one.
Clockwork Rex just said that they had 10 floppy disks installed TIE Fighter. I remember that. I remember you have to install and wait.
Yeah, GOG is the only way that you can play TIE Fighter now because of the deceleration.
Yeah, you have to. You gotta emulate it, right?
Yeah, same with Wing Commander.
Same with Wing Commander and a couple other old like DOS classics and stuff.
Yeah, because if you tried Wing Commander straight out of the box on your computer now, you can actually I think watch your fuel just go
because I grew up on all that stuff. That and a lot of the old like point and click stuff I played a ton of. The old like LucasArts games.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Leisure Suit Larry.
Leisure Suit Larry. Yeah.
Space Quest.
My
I
favorite
think
ones were King's Quest.
Yeah,
I really liked King's Quest 6 was really good, where you're playing as the prince on the isles, the different islands. That one was fun.
I like
Yeah, King's Quest 5 and 6.
Space Quest 4, which was I think Roger
Wilco something, right?
Yeah, Roger
Quest for
Wilco
Glory.
the Time
The
Rippers.
Quest for Glory series was really good too.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I played a lot of it. There was an old one called Chronomaster that almost no one has played, and I think the main character was voiced by Ron Perlman, and one of the other characters is Brent Spiner. They're like the voice of Data. This came out in like 94 or 5, I would think. And it was like kind of it was interesting. I wouldn't say it's like one of the best, but it has an interesting premise.
When Dune, the RTS, Dune 2000 came out, and Michael Dorn was the Duke, that was awesome. You had Worf as Duke Leto Atreides.
What a cool guy.
Sanitarium or like Beneath the Steel Sky was really good.
Falcon 3.0 was kind of was the crisis of its day. Like if you could play Falcon, your computer was top dog at that point. Falcon 4.0 was even worse because nobody could play it when it released.
You know what else was pretty? I have no mouth, but I must scream. That one was cool.
It's like Neo.
It's like based on a book, I believe, or something. It's like an AI has trapped a bunch of people in sort of like their own personal hell.
You think that's air you're breathing?
Yeah.
Their own personal hell, so with other people. According to Sartre. I believe he's the one that wrote the book where hell is other people.
Oops. I can relate to this tons of mice. I remember spending a couple $100 for a calculator for a trig class. That was where my first paycheck went, is I had to get a graphing calculator. And my mom's like, well, you got a job now. And I was like, this sucks. This sucks.
Well, then you had like the people whose parents bought them the TI-89 instead of the TI-83, and the 89 did so much more shit for you.
Yep.
I mean, it is crazy to think the number of things that not that long ago, most of us would have been like, "Oh, that's just science fiction. That's never going to happen. That's too advanced.
Yeah.
We'll never see that. That's just for imagination time. That's just toys for kids now." It's just like it's.
Yeah, well, I mean, a BA2 still costs like $70. The business calculator.
Yep.
Yeah, calculators stay expensive because they know that people who are going to buy them will pay for them.
Like Mario.
Yeah, because it's required for all of our certification tests.
Yeah.
If you take the FRA, CFA, CFP, any of that, the statistics and the business, and then like the IRR calculations.
It's not because they're hard to make.
Yeah.
We have a new vice president who came down asking me if I knew where I could get an accounting calculator, and I'm like, I'll check the supplies. And of course, I couldn't find any calculators at all.
Because phones exist now.
Yeah, but he wanted
much
one with a little paper tape that he could. I was like, I don't think anyone uses those anymore. But apparently, accountants do.
Like I remember Next Generation when they'd pull out the tablet computer, thinking like, "Oh man, it's so advanced."
Well, in 2020 BCE, the parents were all like stupid kids in their tablets, and then in 2020 AD, they're stupid kids in their tablets.
Exactly.
Where's all that infernal chisel?
One of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4,000 years ago, kids did nothing but play with their tablets too.
Yeah, different kind of tablet.
Back when I was in school, they were all dropping tablets, but I think that was something different.
I was just going to say we did other kinds of tablets.
I remember when Spock in one episode of the original series was like, and this disc holds 3 megabytes of whatever, and everyone was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
I was at a conference in 2000 about telecommunications in Canada, and we were talking about the 21st century telecommunications in Canada. Where were we going now that we've reached the year 2000? And we were talking about home computing and broadband internet. And I was saying that the problem was the saturation of personal home computers hasn't reached where it needs to be in Canada. And as an example, I said, my Palm Pilot has more computing power than my first computer ever did. And everyone's like, oh, Palm Pilot. I was like, yeah.
Blast from the past.
My BlackBerry.
The official government position on the internet in Canada for quite a while was that's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Just to think of, just to give you a hint of how fast things move. Remember when Barack Obama was having to fight for his use of his BlackBerry?
I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they had to get a special one for him that
they could archive everything.
I
thought
remember
it was for security to make sure
Yeah,
that
it wasn't security; it was archived because every text and every email they send gets archived.
but they wanted to archive it rather than it being in the hands of RIM.
Yep.
Right. I remember seeing my first Treo just before BlackBerry kind of really hit the marketplace, because it was the president of the university and I was sitting beside him with my Palm Pilot and he took out a brand new Treo and I was like, that's cool.
I think that's kind of something that was in the early aughts that was kind of fun, was that everybody like cell phones were coming out all the time and someone would just show up like, hey man, what is that? Now it's a, hey, which rectangle do you have? Samsung or iPhone? Like which there's no
Randolph. Randolph has a very unique phone. It's bomb proof.
That's right.
this
You
is
go for like 900 feet of water or something.
Yeah.
it's the Blackview is the brand. It is a rugged phone that can do
Like military spec.
yeah, it's
Have you ever heard him type? Of course he needs that kind of phone. Stab his thumb go right through the screen.
So it's a rugged phone. I can drop it off a 5-story building onto cement and it won't break. I can bring it 1.5 meters below water. It'll continue to run without a problem. And this one can take 2 SIM cards. It only costs $209 Canadian, and it's completely unlocked.
Wow, only $5 US.
And a bag of
You
chips.
got a real deal going there, man.
One bag of all dressed chips and you got yourself a deal.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty happy with this. I had a rugged phone before this from Caterpillar called the Cat S60. It also had a FLIR camera, which was really handy for the Bitcoin mining and watching where the heat's going and optimizing all that. But I had to replace it because the battery wasn't holding the charge because I'd had it so long. So time for a new one. $209. I thought, this is much better than going for a phone plan that dings $1,000 out of you a month at a time.
Brian Stevens, a meter is kind of like a yard, FYI.
It's okay. They're metrically challenged.
No, it's
Freedom
100
units.
centimeters.
Freedom units.
150 centimeters. Freedom units. I like that.
You mean delusion units?
Liberty inches.
It doesn't have the same ring to it. At least not a metric ring.
Speaking of metric rings, Britney Spears' dad has lost his bid to retain control over her investments. Good for you.
Wow.
Britney. Good for you.
I hope she doesn't squander it.
Yeah, I was just thinking that as soon as the words came out, I was like, don't fuck this up.
Proves the point.
Yeah.
Well, she is an adult, so why should he?
Let her waste it.
Well, she had some mental health issues, and so she was appointed.
Oh, okay.
He was appointed to be a ward to be the guardian of her assets.
Okay. Was he mismanaging them or something? Or?
No, I think she's just been deemed.
She's been trying to get it back forever.
She's been trying to get it back, and I think the courts have finally just gotten through to just saying, okay, you can have your assets back.
Wow! Imagine having to fight to get your assets back. Holy cow!
She went off the deep end for a while, though. I think it may probably at least the reason it was done was the right reason.
Yeah.
The fact that it took this long for her to get it back may not, be the greatest thing, but I hope she doesn't turn in, her assets don't go away like most other celebrity positions do.
So Simply Secular, who's working pretty much like right across from me here, said to say hi to everybody.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
He's
What's up,
watching
Brian?
during the lunch break. So
I can't do that, Dave.
All right, I'm gonna head out. I need to get to bed because I got class in the morning. So
All right, dude.
yeah, you
Have a
don't
good
have
one.
any class, BB-8. Stop lying.
Thanks for joining us, man. It's good
Yeah.
to see you.
yeah, I'll see y'all.
See you, man.
So yeah.
See you.
Yeah.
All right, he's gone. Let's talk about him. Every time.
I
Every
probably
time.
need to step out shortly too to kind of wind things down for the evening, but I'll check back in to see if you people are still at it since we were at it for 5 hours the other night.
No idea what you're talking about.
That was a great conversation.
It's
Oh, it was
getting-
great. We just kept going. Poor Jen. She was just sitting in the corner. I think she was asleep half the time.
Oh,
We talked about cars for a good hour. I felt bad after.
Oh, she's real happy when people have good conversations because she wants that after party to go really well.
Literally, we
Good to
pushed
see
it to 5 hours.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I
we-
got some
we-
for you.
Buzz is here. Everybody hide.
He was going to close it down, and then there was 5 minutes left, so we dragged it on to get past the 5 hour mark because it'll show up in the videos as 5 hours instead of 4 that way.
And I stopped recording everything that Jenna said. I gave her a break. Because there were some real doozies in the after party.
Oh, that was funny.
You know, deep down, she's going to be so disappointed.
Now that she's got Twitter?
Oh, she's got tons of mice set her up, didn't she?
No, she's got her actual real Twitter now.
So now she has 2 Twitter accounts then.
Well, except I don't think she has access to
The other one
the.
is customizes.
Yeah.
I know.
He'll just shut it down. It was a joke to begin with. So
Yeah.
So, Swede and Tim Bristol, our buddy, have now joined the Bin Podcast Network. So I guess Tons of Mice is going to have to retire his I Am Tim Bristol account.
BB-8's running out to buy Britney Spears albums.
Yeah, pay the woman. She'll actually get the money now.
Pay the man his money.
Pay. Oh, okay. Britney Spears is a man now?
No, I was doing a Rounders bit.
Oh, right.
Never saw it.
It's excellent. I would highly recommend that movie. Probably one of Matt Damon's better flicks.
We have a just in the last 2 months we've gotten 2 new vice presidents here, and one of them keeps kind of asking me every day for something, and I said, "You're killing me, Smalls," and he responded. He said, "Awesome Sandlot reference." I'm like, "Okay, we're going to get along fine."
I'm only 33, but I work with a lot of teenagers, and if I say "You're killing me, Smalls," they look at me like my name is not Smalls. I'm like, oh, come on.
I tried to do it with some students, and they didn't get it.
I was like, give me a break, man. You haven't watched shit. You guys suck.
Dude, the chubby, or was it the chubby shuffle?
Truffle Shuffle.
The truffle
Truffle Shuffle.
That's from Goonies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just doing references for what we would know that current teenagers would be like, what?
Yeah. Well,
Book them, Deado.
I try to maintain what I call my brain trust of undergraduate students that kind of help me stay topical. This is what I like. Do people still use the word cool? Is it still cool to be hip? Is cool even still a thing? Is
It's
hip
still
a thing?
cool to use the word cool. I know that much.
I think we should bring back hip.
Yeah.
If cool's out,
Radical
does that mean
I
things
gotta
are
say,
hot?
by Joe's, that's splendid.
By Jove.
You guys know the meme with the little stick figures like eat all the cake from Hyperbole and a Half, probably like 10 years ago. No, you ever seen that one? I'll have to see if I can find it. Anyway, I asked a student a couple of years ago to make a poster, and that's what they put on it. They showed it to me, and I started laughing, and they're like, "What? You get that?" I'm like, "Why wouldn't I get that?" They said, "Oh, that's a meme." I said, "I know what a meme is." And they said, "Yeah, but old people don't get that." And I'm like, "Okay, hang on a second." And we went around the entire department, and I showed there's like 40 people in the department. Everyone 25 and under got it. everyone between like 30 and 40 didn't know what it was. And then the 50 plus were like, what is that? I see it on my kid's phone. I don't know what it means. And I'm like, that's the bubble. Like
we found the fence.
Yeah.
The crevasse separating us in our ages. But I will say this, and I know this is 100% fact and not conjecture. Kids nowadays are lame. They are not funny. All their music sucks. They're just boring as hell. They do such uncool stuff.
Somebody post the old man yells at cloud meme.
Stop underestimating kids.
They're just some of the stuff that they try to tell me. I'm just
go
like,
back to True Detective season 1 when Woody is talking to his father-in-law and he's like, every generation some old man talks to some younger generation and be like, the kids just don't get it these days. It's every time.
See, eat all the cake.
People doing that.
Maybe it's always been true.
I think until you get to a certain age, you just like
no one has ever actually gotten it.
Oh, I got it. Whatever.
I never got it, so that's why I built a brain trust around me to help me get it.
But that eat all the cake meme was like 20 years ago.
Well, maybe not quite 20 years ago, but yeah.
But well, I mean, it was a 4chan originated over to Reddit, and it was
Yeah. But what I found was like my first 10 years or so, I wasn't that much older than the students, so I could kind of sort of figure it out. And then the second 10 years, I was kind of starting to slip, and I was like, okay, I'm not getting it. So then I decided I had to build this brain trust, which I call my Baker Street regulars. And then so I always have like 20 undergraduates who I get along really well with. And like, you guys gotta have to keep me topical. Like otherwise I don't know how to connect with the students anymore. And
well,
so I've been doing that for the last 20.
If you want to know what the boomers are posting, just look what there's a subreddit called Forwards from Clandma.
Okay.
And it's Clandma.
Right.
KLAN Ma. So it's all the tone deaf posts that boomers have posted that are low key or high key racist, and it has got to be. The other one that I love is Leopards Ate My Face. And it's like,
don't like that.
It's some guy in the about what's this sub about page. It's some guy being interviewed going, I never thought the leopard would eat my face after I voted for the Leopards Will Eat Your Face party. It's just of people realizing that they've made terrible mistakes politically.
What was the word from each of your perspective, like friend groups, I guess, like growing up, like middle school, high school? Did you guys ever make up a word or like have like that? Like, I don't think, because we never said shit was like on fleek. Like that wasn't a thing. Like we didn't have a on fleek. We never had like we just said stuff was cool. And tight was a thing for a little bit.
Awesome,
but we never had a word.
Awesome was popular, and for a little while the word chawsome came up.
I remember chawsome. Yeah.
Awesome.
And we used to say jawsome.
They would say chawsome awesome. They'd put them together, or awesome chawsome.
Yeah, we used to say jawsome.
I hadn't heard that one. Okay.
I just
actually also word. Awesome possum. I mean I didn't say it, but I worked with somebody who used to say awesome possum.
My buddy says that.
Yeah, definitely heard that one around too.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the other interesting thing is because social media has connected everybody. You have these widely divergent groups. That you have way more subcultures developing.
Yeah,
and that's interesting because it's getting more difficult for there to be current like into what's in because it'll be different in all these subgroups. Right. When you decentralize media, not everybody's tuning into the same shows as much, right? Because a lot of younger people are mostly listening to influencers and YouTubers.
Look how cute he is. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's not a real one. That's a stuffed one. They just put little black thumbtacks in this where his eyes are. Matte pins.
No, it's a baby.
Also telling us about all kinds of interesting animals, and I managed to stump her on one, I think, but there
was
information on anything else. So,
I mean, it's impressive. I mean, Jen's knowledge of random animal information is just impressive.
I was actually quite surprised that I managed to stump her with one, maybe two. I think definitely one.
Yeah.
But I have some in my own research. I had some odd things that are not well known, so
yeah.
I had a bit of an advantage there.
Okay, I need to wind down the household and give the cats their evening treats before they tear down the door. But I'll take a peek back in if you guys are still going.
Nope.
Otherwise, nope.
Hang tight a second because I'm going to bring this to an end because I got to go to bed. I got to go to work tomorrow. So
yeah, you look like you're yawning there, man.
I have been.
Even
though I didn't work today because I had to go to visit my doctor because of the leg issue.
Oh.
Which blood work is being done, so I'll find out tomorrow what's happening.
Wow.
He doesn't think it's a blood clot. He thinks it probably was an infection that
Oh.
my body has actually handled mostly. So he gave me have a prescription ready to go if I need it, and another form for more blood work if it's something more serious. So, anyways, I'm in good hands, folks. I'm in good hands, but I do have to go to work tomorrow. So I want to thank David again for joining me as my guest tonight. It was great having you on, brother.
Yeah.
I've done a tweet out on Twitter, giving everyone here thanks as well for all the after party crew, like I usually do. Also, why don't we just let everyone quickly ramble off places where they can be found, and then we'll bring it to a close, and I'll do all my thank yous and stuff. So,
Yay.
start with David, of course, because
you can find me on Twitter. It's David McInnis _42, or on Odinson Media on YouTube, where me and Ansgar do stuff, and we're currently working on some of that stuff. Also, I think tomorrow launches a thing that probably Mikey's
You can go ahead.
Yeah,
You can say it.
yeah. So they're going to be launching the first sessions of Nat 1 Heroes on that channel, which should be pretty fun to listen to. That's been fun to work on. So
Role playing Mikey. Enough said.
Yep.
RPM.
Next up, Mr. Randolph.
All right. Well, I'm Randolf Richardson. You can find out about the Canadian Atheists at www.canadianatheists.ca, the organization that we're promoting that I started, that we're promoting to normalize atheism in society, starting with Canada. Hopefully it will spread throughout the world. We need more of that because we believe it's normal to not believe things. You can find me on Twitter at Randolph828, and you can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/Randolf Richardson. Remember, Randolph is spelled RANDOLF. Thank you for hosting this, Neil, and it's good to see you again, David, and everybody else.
Your turn, Swede.
Hi, I'm Swede. I have a YouTube channel that is called Irish Swede, and I would like to get approximately 45 more subs so I can rename my damn channel. So please go sub. I will be starting a new lovely series on it because LinkedIn is such a wonderful opportunity to post what people choose to post on there. I've already gotten several people in trouble with their employers because of use of the R word. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, you can find me there. You can find me at Swede_Irish on Twitter, and yeah, and all that fun stuff.
Mr. Gorilla.
Yeah. So
Backstage.
as you can see, I now have a website that I made just for Jenna to make her get Twitter, but it's now an actual website. So everything you can find about me on the internet is pretty much there at www.quietgorilla.ca. But I do have 2 YouTube channels that I haven't put anything out. I'm on Twitter and Twitch and TikTok and all those other things. Wherever there's a Quiet Gorilla, it is probably me.
The CEO of Mythology just jumped in here.
Hey, welcome. You're muted.
Yeah.
Thank God for that.
And we're
Mikey?
just bringing it to an end here, brother.
I know.
It's Oz. It's fucking Oz. What am I doing?
Yeah, it's Oz.
Oh, that's a good disguise, Oz. I didn't know it was you.
It's fucking Oz.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Oz.
What's
Or
up,
not.
everybody?
We're not seeing Oz. We're just seeing the CEO of Mythology.
Right.
Oz.
Well, why doesn't the CEO of Mythology first First, say your little message to Mikey, and then tell people where they can find you, Mr.
So we can go to sleep.
Oz, I'm looking forward to co-hosting that event on the 20th. You should talk about that.
Well, yeah, I was about to say I'm going to do a quick plug, and then I do have a question for Mikey. But Oz, with the Atheist Roundtable, and on February 20th, we're going to have an entire stream dedicated to folks that have just started brand new atheist or critical thinking, skeptic content creating channels. And I know there's a few people here that are either going to be on, or if you want to be a part of that, you can email me at austin@tart.live and we can add you to the lineup. But the one and only Randolph Richardson is going to be
a few years ago. So,
but Randolph's going to be co-hosting with me that evening, and it's very, very awesome to have him
likewise
join and hang out with us and help to celebrate and promote the ones that just getting started. And I'm collecting some data from some other content creators that have been doing it longer and getting their tips of what to do and what not to do. But I digress. Well, I will plug one more because I am the CEO of Mythology. On the 27th, we're having a 6 or 7 person panel discussion on is Jesus a myth. So you want to check that out. But
I can answer that right now.
That won't be emotionally charged at all.
Oz, are you meaning that that's not a settled point?
Yes.
Oz, is that not a settled point already?
It's amazing how unsettled that topic still is.
It's gonna be a quick show. It's like, welcome everybody. No. All right, thanks guys for coming out. We'll see you later.
Well, it depends on which Jesus you're talking about. I know a few.
Yeah. I think it depends on whether or not is Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter a myth? I mean, kind of, right? Like clearly, the version of Jesus people are talking about is a myth. So either way, it seems like the obvious answer is yes.
Yeah, and we have a great panel for that. People have their degrees in history, theology, biblical history. We have a great panel for that. I'm looking forward to it.
I have a degree in assholery.
Me too. That's the only degree I have. Actually, no, I dropped out of school for that one too. God damn it. But Mikey, I do have a question. Mikey, do you?
Yes, sir.
Are you convinced? Are you convinced that you're funny?
I have.
Is that the topic of the second debate?
I have evidence proving so.
I didn't ask that. Do you believe that you're funny?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your confidence level? 1 to 100.
Well, I mean, there was this
street epistemology or fucking humor away.
Yeah, it's cool because I went on this struggling channels roast, which was full of unfunny people, and I burned the fucking house down. So yeah, I'm fucking funny, Oz. Put some spec on my name, Oz.
If that was not.
Oh, and you guys are assholes. And you guys are assholes. You did another roast and you didn't let me know. I would have came on.
If that was not a subjective opinion, I don't know what was. So again, 1 to 100. How convinced are you that you're actually funny?
100.
100.
No, 100.
No, I heard you.
More than 100.
I heard you. 100.
That's more than 100. The way he said it.
100.
No, it's not. It's not even a word.
Oh, you just don't know how to speak, Mikey.
No, I got it. I refuse to speak his language tonight.
It's called the Femanian dialect. Come on.
Lots of people. You can get on the Duolingo. There's a course that just opened up for it.
So we'll just fast forward. Through the rest of the SC. You do not have a justified reason to believe you're funny. Therefore, you're not funny. Move on.
I think he's funny.
You know what I think is funny? The fuck out of here. What you thought was funny, Oz? Laugh at that.
Oh, it looks different now.
It looks way better.
Wait. Are we talking about funny
like
looking?
Abuse of power. Okay, that's better.
All right. Well, thanks Oz for just tearing me down one more peg because that was my major problem was running around telling everybody I was funny. Thanks Oz for clearing that up. You gentle soul, you.
All right, boys, go to your fucking corners.
He started it.
Yeah, well, all right.
Oh, they've got a good boxing ring set up on Tart,
go ahead, Mikey, and chill your stuff, my friend.
Every Thursday at 2 p.m. Central, come check out the Bin Podcast. And also we have, yes, Neil was in the chat. We got eventually one of these days, Neil's going to have a Thursday off and can come hang out with us. One of these days.
Well, I had it today.
Oh.
But I was doing medical stuff.
Oh, yeah. You were
just appointment like 8:30 in the morning, and then I had to go back for the blood work at about 11:30. So,
yeah, that's right. When we went live. Okay. But yeah, come check us out. It's a good time. We just added on 2 new partners in Iris Weed and Tim Bristol to talk to us about financial and poli-sci stuff. So that's great. And then check out Net One Heroes. We're going to be premiering our Zero sessions tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central. So you guys will be
on the new partners.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time over in Mikey Family Land.
Oh, it's combined some of the home improvements I've made.
Yes. Come stand on this place.
All right. Well, first and foremost, again, David, thank you very much for joining me today, man. It was great having you on.
Yeah, good time.
Also, big shout out to my patrons. Because of you guys, the show just keeps improving, I hope. At least anyways, let me know in the comments if it is. I'm just kidding. Thanks to all my amazing patrons. You guys are what keep me going and doing stuff and trying to get, better and better at what I do. And every little bit helps, just so you know.
Yes.
Don't forget, like Randolph said earlier, that we are starting up our own call-in show very soon. Can't really give you a actual date because we're not sure. We're still building the studio. But the West Wall went up.
Building at this stream. Darn it. I'm busy working on a server, though.
Go ahead, Neil. Nonprofits.
Okay, so anyways, yeah. Also, Mr. Mikey, my producer there, has also joined us for an episode of the Nonprofit. So head on over to that channel and give him a sub, and you'll expect to see us come up between Talk Heathen and the Atheist Experience every Sunday at about 3 p.m. Central Time. And the last Saturday of every month, I usually join my good friend Andy Hall and Seamus from the Free Thought Prophets. Andy Hall has his own channel, Laughing in Disbelief, which is where we air the show Atheist Drinking Out Loud on that last Saturday of the month. And it's 2 p.m. Pacific time. So go over and sub to Andy's channel, and you'll be able to get notifications when we go live because they're a lot of fun to do. Thanks to everyone in the chat. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hope you guys had a good time. And you be well as well, Mr. Brian Stevens. Yes, the registered trademark. Sorry. Belongs to Canada, eh? So screw you guys. But anyways, until next time, guys, like I always say at the end of these little get-togethers that we have called the after party, like the late, great Carl Sagan once said, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And we'll see you guys next time.